for
Gotham Radio. Hello, all you wonderful people of Gotham City. And welcome back to another invigorating, exciting, and explosive episode of Gotham Radio. Today, we're excited to reveal to you who our special guest is. He's a creep. He's a peep. He's got a hat that you'd call steep. It is our boy, Scarecrow. Mr. Sorry, there's a fly in here. Jesus Christ. Is that just me, or is that your spooky gas or whatever?
It's probably the gas, yeah.
Right, well, anyway, without any further ado, Mr. Jonathan Crane. Dr. Jonathan Crane, sorry. You know, we've got another Dr. Crane in the city these days.
Yeah, I've heard about that. He killed Mr. Freeze, didn't he?
Sorry, I think you said he killed Mr. Freeze, and yeah, he did. He shot him in the head with a gun. Pretty crazy, right?
Oh my gosh. With a gun? Was it a freeze gun at least, or?
No, not a freeze gun, a regular gun with a bullet. Yeah, right between the eyes. Oh, Victor didn't see it coming. Oh well, he's dead now. So, Johnny boy, tell me, how you been dealing with a bat these days?
Well, you know, he seriously, he broke into the store like 2 weeks ago, and he dropped these fucking huge goddamn pipes on me. All the while he's breathing in my fear toxin, and he didn't even have a freaking scratch. He had a bite on his shoulder that wasn't even from us. It was from Killer Croc.
You know, I'm picking up like 50% of what you're saying right now. I don't actually know. Are you? I think you said that he dropped some pipes on you. Someone left the Xbox on. Whoa. Oh, sorry, Johnny boy. We got to go to commercial. But before we do, why don't we ask everybody, hey have you seen this one? A Penguin production.
Oh, that's not it. The fuck?
I am Batman.
Gotham Radio is back and better than ever. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 242 of Hey, Did You See This One? The weekly review reaction roundtable discussion podcast where we take a movie, we pull it apart, we try to put it back together as best we can, and we just have to ask the question, hey, did you see this one? If you joined from the very beginning, you got to hear the latest installment of Gotham Radio. There is lore, and there's lots of it. So,
if you guys don't understand that from Mr. Freeze bit, Dr. Fraser Crane from Seattle he arrived in got Batman's city and shot Mr. Freeze in the head and then stole his outfit and is now the new Mr. Freeze of Gotham City.
Yes, that's well, now you're caught up.
I think Niles would be a better Mr. Freeze.
Niles is also in the city, but I haven't revealed who he is yet. Also, Alex Jones is in the city as the Frogman of Gotham. He's like,
there you go.
Turning all the frogs gay, and I love it.
This is, of course, hey, did you see this one? We are talking anthologies. It's an Anthology Armageddon month here. We continue on with Batman, Gotham City, Gotham Knight, and I'm still taken aback by that intro. That was one of our best ever.
I'm glad you liked it. I spent a grand total of like 8 minutes and 45 seconds on it.
Perfect. But I am, of course, your first co-host, Jason R. Phillips, Gotham Knight. I'm joined, as always, by Steven Boba Blackfly. Whoa.
Hi, the voice of Penguin in Gotham Radio.
If I got to do my due diligence and say hello to these
lovely
people
hello.
who joined.
Hello.
But we have some other business to attend to. Returning to the show after about 2 years, since we did a month a couple of years ago, I'd like to welcome back to the show, hopefully the first of many reappearances, Naveed Khan. Welcome back to the show.
So good to see you, Naveed.
Good to be back.
Yeah,
Sorry, I I don't know, tripping around the world or something.
It's hilarious because we're like, oh, you're finally back in Canada. We can line up another episode for you to come on, and you're now in Dubai. Or, you know.
literally, you said, can you come on? I said, heck yeah, I'm back in Canada. And then the week that you scheduled this, I'm like, that's literally the only week that I'm actually not in Canada. It's all good. It's all good. It's like 4 a.m. here. I haven't slept in 48 hours. We're gonna have fun.
God, it's gonna be weird.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, I appreciate your time. Yeah, are you ready to talk for 4 more hours about Batman Gotham Knight?
Yeah. I mean, your sweater does look like something the algorithm would wear. That looks like an costume.
This is my origin story.
Yeah. Gonna go into the algorithm and destroy all of us in Batman. Also,
you fell into a vat of algorithms.
on our For You page. That's on his sidekick For You page. I'd also like to welcome back to the show for like the 30th time at this point. I'm not even sure. We've lost count. But welcome back to the show. Alex Gow is back in the place to be. How are you doing, Alex?
I'm doing well, thank you. Have I done this show before?
Yes.
No.
Oh, okay.
Never a Batman one.
It's a 51st date situation.
Yeah.
Just keep bringing it back.
51st episode.
Yeah.
Were you not here for Batman Mask of the Phantasm? No, that was
no.
That was somebody else. Never mind. Forget about it. This is the third Batman movie we've done on the pantheon of the show. So we do have a trilogy of them now. And Steven wasn't even on for one of them. Or were you? Were you here for Batman Returns like year one? Yeah. Don't go watch that. Don't worry about it. Anyway, as I said, this is episode 242. So we're very long in the tooth. Are we talking about Batman? Is this the movie where they want no taxes? No, I think that's Batman Rises, Dark Knight Rises.
Batman Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah. Don't worry, they will on it afterwards.
Exactly. I think that we do have to appease the gods and see if Full Zardos is around.
Zardos speaks to you. He demands you synopsize this film. Tell him how, why, who, what occurs in this film.
So this month has been a little bit different because the movies we're doing are anthology films and everyone has its own sort of unique story. This one feels like there's almost a through point to it, but not really. So what we're going to do is, I'll just explain basically what it is. It's a collection of short animated films that are all starring our favorite Man in Black, the Dark Knight himself, Batman, Bruce Wayne, having a series of different quests and adventures through Gotham that are dealing with different themes and different ideologies and different philosophies and sort of like micro-examining certain elements of Batman as a character. For the most part, some of them are just like Batman goes and fights the Scarecrow in the sewers. But, for the most part, they have a particular sort of idea to them. And it's kind of cool. All of them have very unique and different and interesting art styles. And like I said, there almost is like the feel of a through point, but at the same time, not really. But as we go through the rest of the episode, we'll give you sort of a brief synopsis of each of the chapters as we go as well. And yeah, that's our synopsis. So hopefully Zardos is pleased.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
We'll never find out. With that in mind, why don't we go into our brief histories?
How brief are they going to be? A brief history!
Naveed, since you haven't been here in a while, why don't you give us your brief history with this film?
Well, how brief do you want to keep it? Because that's about as brief as the history actually is. About a week ago, you said, hey, do you want to come on the podcast and talk about Batman Gotham Knight? And I said, sure, that's great. Let's do it. Then I flew to Dubai 2 days ago, and on the flight, I watched Batman Gotham Knight. And
several
the other
times.
16 hours of the flight.
I watched that, and then every Harry Potter film ever made. And then I thought about it. So it's been rolling around in the back of my head for the last couple of days. Pretty brief, about 3 days into Batman Gotham Knight. And I have a feeling this one's not going to leave me for quite a while. And we'll get into that pretty soon.
Yeah,
Excellent.
It's interesting. This is one, if you guys don't mind, I'll just hop right in because I just had a fresh idea. I saw this when it first came out. I don't think that it had a theatrical release. If it did, I don't think I saw it in theaters, but I don't think it did. Usually these anthology films don't have theatrical releases, but I did have it on Blu-ray or DVD or whatever. And I watched it a few times. I think it came out in between The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. And I feel like that's why it is the way it is. There's certain elements of it that I'm like, this feels like there was a lot of Nolan influence and a lot of Nolan finger wagging and being like, no, you cannot do these villains because I have to save them for my Nolan verse. I don't know if that's true. It just kind of feels that way. But the first time I saw it, I thought it was like one of the coolest things I'd ever seen. And I'm very into Batman. It's one of my favorite things, along with, Star Wars and a bunch of other stuff. But Batman is pretty up there. And all I could think about was like, man, they need to do this with everything. Every single, they need to do this with Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter, and any kind of weird, large fandom should take a swing and do something like this. And, a lot of them have. We did the Animatrix this month, and things even there's a Star Wars anime show now that exists on Disney Plus that you can watch that is very similar to these types of movies. But yeah, I think this one kind of holds a special place. A lot of it has to do with Kevin Conroy being the voice of Batman throughout the entirety of it. Even when it's totally not suited. There's that one where he's a pretty Bruce Wayne who's fluttering his eyelids constantly. And it's I am Batman. Okay, that this doesn't really match, but I still liked it. So yeah, I mean, I saw it when it first came out and I was very excited for it. And I've seen it a couple of times, but I think it's more so that I watch segments of it more than watching the entirety of the film. On one of the theory channels that we do, we did a Batman Star Wars crossover, and it was Yoda and Batman were just happened to be pals. And Yoda's like, call my friend from Gotham City, I must. And then he's like, hey, Yoda, what do you need? And then Batman figures out who Palpatine is within 48 hours. He shows up and he's like, I know who Darth Sidious is. But yeah, and I ended up rewatching it when I was editing that together because I used a lot of clips from the movie in that edit. But yeah. I think it's great. I think it's a thing that I don't know if it holds up as well as it does in my memories, but I enjoyed watching it again, and there was never a moment where I was like, this blows, but it's just kind of fun. So yeah, that's my brief history. Alex,
I'd never seen it. To be honest, I don't think I'd ever really even heard of it. And I've seen, I think, pretty much all the live action Batman movies, but I don't think I've ever watched any Batman animation at all. I've never, I didn't watch the animated series. I've never seen any animated Batman movies.
And this will be Alex's last appearance on the show.
Yeah. Yeah. Until the next person cancels on you.
Yeah.
Please come back.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's when you have the Alex symbol shining in the air.
It's just a beard.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a beard.
Beard floating.
The beard signal. Yeah.
But no, yeah, I watched it. I watched it yesterday, and
here we are.
My brief history is I watched it, and then I went to bed, and I was just thinking about Batman, and I actually consciously thought to myself, I'm like, I have to sleep instead of thinking about Batman.
That's so funny. That's so good because Batman is worthy of that kind of thing.
Yeah, I like Batman, but yeah, I never.
I wish I had that problem.
That's how we get you.
Having 10 existential crises in a row, being like, "Well, it's 3 a.m. I should be asleep."
I should be not thinking about Batman.
Why am I thinking about that time I stole an eraser in the 2nd grade over and over again?
Yeah.
Jason?
Batman would have beat the absolute shit out of you for that.
He broke all my fingers and we that's Christmas.
Yeah.
So
you're getting erased from the streets of Gotham.
The eraser is on the loose.
Yeah.
I have to get pencil. Bat pencil.
It's just a black pencil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the little bat symbol on it.
Yeah, on the eraser.
On
the
the eraser.
the back of the eraser is a bat symbol.
It's a yellow eraser with a little black. Yeah.
Alex, I'm actually surprised you don't have the same. It's being somebody that can collects video game stuff. I'm surprised you don't have the same brief history as I do. I actually got this with the Arkham City special edition that came with like a statue of Batman.
Okay.
It's like this plastic statue of Batman. It's pretty sick. It's in black and white. And it came in this case, this like plastic case, and then it had a little drawer that came out.
I had this too.
You have that as well?
Yep. I don't have it anymore, but I had it. I traded it for a drafting table. There was a guy who couldn't find it anywhere, and he's like, I have a drafting table. You like to draw. Do you want that? I'm like, yeah, what do you want for it? And he's like, $200. I'm like, I can't, but I have this Batman statue. And he's like, there's a collector. He like gave me a drafting table for this Batman statue.
Yeah, and it also had like a demo code for like that weird Gotham City Joker, everybody's like gangs game that lasted for like 2 seconds. Anyway, it was pretty rad. I've got it.
That game, yeah.
I've got it in the storage somewhere. I wanted to like show it, but I looked around and all I could find was my Cartman collectible.
It's
which
Cartman.
Is like, Cartman. Yeah.
Cartman, yeah. You gotta say it right.
From Stick of Truth. And yeah, so it's in storage somewhere. So the DVD is in storage somewhere. At any rate,
I'm just trying to see if I have anything cool within arm's reach.
You're just gonna pull out complete inbox Earthbound or Chrono Trigger or something.
Yeah, here's Chrono Trigger. Is that good?
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
pretty
good.
good. Arm's
Thank
reach.
But I remember watching it and really enjoying it, and watching it this time around, I didn't enjoy it as much as the Animatrix, but back when I saw this for the first time, I was like, that's like what Steven said. Like, they got to do this for every IP. Like,
yeah.
You know, like, give me a Final Fantasy.
There are some disappointments about this that didn't really exist with the Animatrix, and the Animatrix was able to explain things that we don't understand about the Matrix in a huge, interesting way, whereas this is just sort of like Batman. We all know who Batman is.
Yeah,
right?
you don't need to. That's part of what I liked is it needed no context at any time, even though it was completely without context.
Yeah, definitely. Is that everyone's? You good, Jason? Are you good?
Yeah, that's good. Okay. We can go into some production talk.
Okay.
All right. Quiet on set. Are we rolling? Okay, let's shoot this piece of shit. Sound. Speed. Action!
Well, oh, sorry. One more thing I want to say. For the 6 people who will understand or care, you made me think of this with your Arkham City talk, but I won a Batman game for GameCube on Video and Arcade Top 10.
Oh so my god!
Wow.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
For GameCube, yeah, it wasn't great, but it was.
I'm trying to remember what Batman game was on.
It was fun. It was like a beat 'em up.
Was it like a Batman? Was it a Batman Begins game?
I don't think so. No. I think
or Beyond?
No, it was before that.
Right.
It was a Return of the Joker from Batman Beyond or something like that.
No, it was like. Well, I mean, when was Video and Arcade Top 10?
The GameCube. So it would have had to be right at the end of Video and Arcade. Also,
Batman Vengeance, Batman
Vengeance. It was Vengeance.
There you go.
You were on the show, or you won it in like a raffle?
I was the guest. I was the guest audience. My buddy was on it. I did play. I played the GameCube Rogue Squadron game, and I got fucked out of it because it was everyone played the same level, and you had to, and it was whoever could kill the most TIE fighters won. But then I killed all the TIE fighters, and it brought me to the next level. And then they were like, "Oh, this guy had the most," because I had like a counter. And I was like,
because you were supposed to stay in the level and not finish.
I don't know.
And you were
I was too good. I was suffering from success, dude.
That's hilarious. That's so funny.
I hope that YTV uploads all of those episodes.
I hope whoever.
Someone did. I actually I tried to like find the episode, but it's so like it's just some guy on YouTube. Probably just dumped his VHS recordings of.
Yeah,
that show was on every day. I feel like there's probably hundreds of episodes.
Yeah,
cool. Well, as far as
we should have a letter time segment, Jason. You can be
it's
like,
letter time. It's letter time. I hated that. If I'm being honest.
That was like
That
a
little
purely
jingle?
Canadian show, right? I don't think it was. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
some north of the like
Well,
south
I
of the
don't know.
border, like right
I
on
mean,
the
it was
border,
filmed
people got
here.
it. Yeah.
It was filmed locally enough that my friend's mom drove us.
Mm-hmm. I just wonder if like like some of the northern
Yeah,
states
it's like
would get like reboot and stuff before the rest of the continent.
yeah.
As far as budget goes, this movie apparently, and IMDb listed at 3.5 million. There was no theatrical release for it. Why would there be? But it was created in response to the Animatrix being created to promote, sort of in a Gruella way, the next movie coming out. And this came out right before The Dark Knight, which would go on to be one of the biggest superhero movies of all time anyway. But Batman Begins, while was successful, wasn't like as successful as I wanted it to be because it was like gritty and grounded in that right before Iron Man even came out. So
It was
people were
also like coming off the back of like everybody thought that Batman was a joke and like they couldn't. They're like, oh, Batman's dead after Batman and Robin. Even though I like those shitty Schumacher movies, adults did not, and it left a stigmatization with Batman that lasted all the way up until people left the theater. Like even while watching Batman Begins, people were like, "This still feels gay." You're like, "It's not though. It's not."
And the other thing with Batman Begins, and I love Batman Begins, was to the casual audience, Ra's al Ghul is such a shitty villain.
Yeah.
There's no
So
draw
incredible.
at all, zero for it.
But
I didn't know who he
Scarecrow
was before I saw the movie.
Scarecrow was
I
done in a
did
really
because
interesting way.
I was heavily steeped in the
but
Lazarus
I mean,
pits of the
just
animated
like
series. But
person who likes Batman, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't know who this guy
who
is.
the fuck is Ra's al Ghul? Am I saying this right, or Mr. Ra's al
Ra's al
Ghul?
Ghul. And I was like, I don't know if Liam Neeson should be playing this guy,
Yeah,
or if
isn't
this
he-
is like an overcorrection. But
I
that's
will
the
say
movie
that
that we watched.
Even Ra's al Ghul is not an Asian man. He's like, I think he's like a conquistador that's lived for a long time or something. Isn't that his backstory? I don't really know a lot about Ra's al Ghul.
You're the one we would ask. So.
Yeah.
You just say
He's like
Ra's al Ghul.
he has like a mixed descendancy, I believe is what it is. And like
Yeah,
he
his
just
mom
lives-
is Irish and his dad is Northern Irish.
yeah. But also like his whole thing is that he uses the Lazarus pits to bring himself back to life over and over again, and every time he does, he goes slightly more insane. But yeah, they didn't do that in Batman Begins.
No.
No.
That would
Just
Would have
Nolan
been
and
too
Frank.
much fun.
The Lazarus pit in the Nolan verse is just a big pit where they throw prisoners and they have to try and climb out with ropes on their butts or whatever.
Yeah, you just stand there till you heal naturally.
Suspended by ropes, and people punch you in your spine until your spine is strong.
until you're better.
Yeah. While the movie didn't have a theatrical release, it's estimated that it made about 4.5 million in its first week on DVD sales and sold in the ballpark of about 2,200,000 DVDs. So it did pretty well. So I would consider this also a cult classic, kind of like The Animatrix was. As far as the actual production talk goes, we'll probably cover that more as we go short to short, just because each one has a different animation style and director. So outside of that, basically just this, we've heard from two of the studios this month already, Studio 4C and Madhouse, but there are two other production companies that we haven't heard from yet, from the Animatrix or from Memories last week, and that's Production IG and B Train. But I'll reiterate those as we kind of go through. Stephen, you mentioned Kevin Conroy returned to be Batman, for better or for worse, even though he's like a little like anime.
I think in some of the shorts it's absolutely appropriate, and some of them it
Yeah.
feels odd, but like I don't care, right? Like he's even trying, even when with like the Fancy Bruce episode, he is like trying to make his voice sound a couple of decades younger, and like being flirtatious with his delivery and stuff. Like I think that he accomplished it to a degree that it's not that jarring, but it is a little bit jarring to hear this like old man voice coming out of like a twink or whatever, like geez, on the golf course.
And then just the last thing I wanted to point out, that like all of the scores are very different and they're all good. And we'll kind of mention those as we go through as well. But the Jordan Goldberg, who I believe is a director or screenwriter, did actually develop an overarching story for the whole thing. What that really means is more so at the end of a short. They'll mention it at the beginning of the next one, but then it'll be something completely different that the story is about. But I did appreciate that it is kind of a coherent movie if you watch it through a certain lens.
A lens that is cracked and doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, a cracked lens, and you're just like you got the big
every
board
single
with
one
all-
of these has Batman.
Yeah,
Continuity.
Yeah, it's like there's the one where
That
he's
guy
like,
keeps coming up.
but like some of them are so bad because it almost like completely, it like completely reduces what the one prior to it was attempting to say. Like there's the one where he's got all the guns and
I was gonna say the guns, right?
And then the next one he just has them in a paper bag and he's like, I do know why guns are sexy. And you're like, Batman. The last one.
Alfred is just like, I've been running into these and tripping over your bag of guns all day.
Yeah, and then he goes and has an orgasm about guns. Yeah.
The cold
very
steel pressed against your inner thigh.
One thing I don't know if it's not really production, but it's like it's outside of the movie related. Is I was curious. I Googled other animated movies from the same year because I'm like, okay, where were we? You know what I mean? 2008 is like an ambiguous time in my head. So this year we had WALL-E, Kung Fu Panda, Ponyo, the Clone Wars movie. Those were all, but animation wise, I'm like trying to think. I'm like, okay, what were the other things?
You named so many good ones in a row, and then the Clone Wars animated movie, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, at least we got the show out of it.
And the sequel, Mandalorian and Grogu.
Yeah.
But yeah,
technically,
WALL-E was big, and I mean, Kung Fu
WALL-E was
Panda
huge.
obviously huge.
WALL-E is one of the best movies ever made.
WALL-E is really good.
Yeah. I also really, really love Kung Fu Panda.
You love Kung Fu Panda.
It's not a secret in this household. When I'm feeling really, really sad, like super depressed, I put on Kung Fu Panda 2 just to cry on purpose. Like I gotta get some tears out. I'm feeling sad.
That actually makes me sad.
Yeah, oh gosh, I cried like an old man watching WALL-E.
WALL-E is
WALL-E.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
I guess I got to watch Kung Fu Panda 2 now.
Yeah, I had a cry moment literally today. I was so Weird Al just put out his new Tiny Desk, and I was singing. I was holding my brand new son. Now it's a new generation. I can show him Weird Al like my dad showed to me when I was a boy, and I was singing the Star Wars song. The saga begins.
Do you think that's the worst moment of his life so far?
Probably. Probably. He went to sleep. Like it put him.
He fell asleep. Fell asleep to your weeping.
It's his only escape.
Long time ago.
Please, I'll sleep. Just stop. I swear I'll sleep.
I'll do anything.
He was just pretending. Like as soon as you put him down, he like.
I love it.
This is what we talk about, Ben Yamin Kalim.
Yeah, we're talking about torturing babies.
Shit.
I mean, sorry. It's context. This is why you have to show up on time.
Exactly.
I'm going to clip that and we're going to get canceled.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of getting canceled, we can probably go into the body of the episode.
My God, the body of the episode.
Everybody back up, because here comes the body of the episode.
So, to start off, I think that much like World Record from the Animatrix, this one is the one that people usually remember because it is called Do I Have a Story? And it's a series of kids sitting around sort of
awesome. Sorry,
telling their...
You're going to do the synopsis?
I'm going to do the synopsis, yeah.
Okay.
It's a series of kids telling a recount of their encounters with Batman. The story is told backwards through their experiences, and every time these kids encounter Batman, it represents a different element of his mythos and his mystique and his aura. The first one is he's like a shadowy figure man. The second one, he's a literal like Batman who flies around. And then the third one, he's a gadget robot dude. And then finally at the end, he shows up as Batman himself and saves the day from this this villain known as the Man in Black, which I looked up and I can't seem to find anywhere.
I have a note here. I said, am I supposed to know who this bad guy in the mask is? Is he a Batman villain I'm supposed to know, or a Glup Shido, or just an unnamed goon?
He's a Glup Shido, I think, but also not really because he doesn't have a name. I think it's just this is what I'm talking about with the Nolan finger wagging, where it's like, no, you can't use any of the actual because we're gonna use Bane. You can't have Bane. We're gonna use Bane in the next movie, and they're like,
what we know about said Man in Black is
oh my god, hold on.
His name was Jacob Feely.
Yeah, hold on, Naveed.
Stop. We have to know if Zardos approves.
Zardos approves.
Yes. Okay. Sorry, Naveed. I like how your camera would shake.
I was rattling my desk.
Approval has been granted.
All right, go ahead and tell us about this Glup Shido.
Oh, yeah. This is a guy that nobody cares about. Let's spend the rest of the episode talking about him. Well, Glup Shido's Jacob Feely.
Yeah, from the next
Arkham Asylum. And what's his big deal? Nobody knows. He's skilled at creating gadgets and technology.
That's kind of cool.
Doesn't matter. I don't know.
Alex is gone.
Yep.
He did say his computer might explode at some point. Yeah, I mean, the character, I like that he also changed as well in the tales. Like, it wasn't that he was sort of standardized throughout. He, like Batman, is changing constantly with each rendition of the story. And I think that this is like it's an anthology within the anthology, which is kind of cool already.
Yeah.
But I love that each one of the characters is telling their version of the story, and it very much is like personified in the visual representation of both Batman and the villain is like kind of matching the energy of these kids or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And like, you know, one of them is trying to make the villain seem just as scary as Batman. The other one is making Batman seem way more scary than he actually is. And the other one is like completely sort of misreading what Batman's abilities and powers are. His gadgets are like part of him. You know, that's pretty cool. So why don't we focus on like the first one, which is
even before when they're just in that warehouse.
It's like the most Gotham skate park you've ever seen.
Yeah. My impression of the animation, I was trying to communicate it like in words how I was feeling, and it was like it feels like when you stay up too late watching TV, and then it's like weird cartoons that they would only play at like midnight or something like that that aren't good enough to play in like primetime slots or whatever. Right. It just felt like a weird something like that. You know what I mean?
I do, but it is also like a really interesting and unique art style, right? And this
it was really cool. It was just very strange. It felt weird.
The movements are odd. Even though the voice acting is kind of wild and crazy, like, but it's matching the animation style. I love that they're inside what looks to be like a decommissioned like airport hangar or something. Like that's got a bunch of skate park things that like
it felt like Tony Hawk level for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. It's got a massive fan that's like constantly slowly spinning off in the distance. You never really focus on it. It's just always there. Every wall is called the Foundry.
Yeah.
Every wall is windows, and it's like so well lit, but at the same time very rusty old, and there's graffiti on every inch of every surface for the entirety of all of your eyes can see. And they're like, oh man, you're never gonna believe what happened. I think one of them shows up late and they're like, you guys are not gonna believe this. And it's like he's got like these kind of interesting goggles that like they look like the goggles that you wear when you get eye surgery when you're like 90 or whatever. We're like, oh, I can't fucking look at the sun anymore, I'll die. But they're red, so obviously they're cool.
Very cool.
And he tells his version of events, which is that he witnesses on the I guess the shore front, or like it's like near a railroad or like a subway track or whatever, and he's beneath that, and he gets clotheslined off of his skateboard by a Gotham villain, and the villain is about to club his head in with his own skateboard until he's attacked by a literal shadow. I mean, I don't think it would be out of the wheelhouse of the show for us to be like, do you guys have a favorite one of the Batman representations or not? But like, this one's so cool. I love that he's moving around.
I wrote Batman Let There Be Carnage because he just made me think of Venom a lot.
Yeah.
I like the robot the best, because that's when I kind of clued into it being each one being a part of his mythos.
Botman.
Yeah. Botman. Iron Bat.
I did like the way that they represented when he's this living shadow. He's like a wraith. He's just like kind of slithering in and out of the darkness.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that really captured if this is somewhere in the Nolan verse, the whole concept of him living in the shadows, bursting out of the darkness, like those are well established thematic elements of Batman Begins, and so bring that forward. But in this way, what I also found interesting for this first part of the anthology was those stories within this story, as Steve was saying, even though there's an overall artistic composition for this short piece, within that composition changes too, depending on whether they're talking about like Shadow Batman or Man Batman, or Robo Batman. Because what I liked about the first one, which I think makes it super cool, is they open the section with these sort of colorful visuals that are a bit janky, and these kids really hyping each other up about talking about what they saw. And then you get this first section, and it's very heavy on like desaturation and grayscale-y sort of shadowy elements, which I thought was really cool, because I thought it was intentional, because I'm like, okay, maybe the stories that they're telling are kind of fuzzy and grayed out. Maybe that's the artistic style that they're going for. And so I really thought, this is cool. It's like the animation style is kind of loose and abstract, and Batman's kind of like stretchy and moving around through all these shadows. But then that style changes to match, something that's a little bit more like, I don't know, kind of
bombastic, like
explosions
and like blood, and she's like exaggerating parts.
It's crazy, So I mean, I like that one. I think it was a great place to open.
I love that he's like.
I like all of it as an opening. Yeah.
I also do like that it's not nighttime, right? Like it's like close to sunset.
I wrote it's very bright out for Batman. Shouldn't he be Bruce Wayning right now?
But I think that this is also part, like it probably was much darker, like in the rendition of the kid's story. It's like he's moving like a fucking pool of darkness across the ground and popping up like a slime man, and he's got sharp teeth, and he kind of has this like he looks like he's gonna feast on his blood, but like the kid is probably just like, he saw him go behind a pillar, and then all of a sudden he's over there behind the car beating the shit out of the guy. But then, in his version of the story, it's like, no, he moved across the ground, and all you saw was his shadow, and he popped up, and he punched him in his nuts, and then threw him in the water. And like, I love that. I love the exaggeration of like kids telling stories to each other. Even in the second one where the Man Bat shows up, much brighter during the day, and he like literally chops a guy's head off in the story.
Yeah,
like, Batman doesn't cut people's heads
off.
And then he's like,
adding flavor.
People.
I wrote when the guy's head got cut off, I said, does that count as a bisection?
Oh, okay.
And it's the closest we get, so I'm going to take it.
This is also lore that I don't know if Naveed is familiar with, but for a very long time, every time Alex would be on the show, there was some sort of bisection.
Someone would just get cut in half. It started with Signs, when the wife gets pinned against the tree.
Yeah.
And then I think my next one was Christine, and that happens again.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell's going on?
What?
And then there was the Christmas movie where the snowman got cut in half.
Yeah. Sometimes we had to stretch a bit farther.
Yeah.
But it's still it happens so
Yeah.
many more times. I've been on this. I think I've been on like 15 times now.
It's
I
definitely
wanted
a thing
to-
that we're looking for when we know you're coming on as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
We're like,
Yeah.
does that count?
Those are all my episode droughts are just movies where nobody gets cut in half,
We
partially
you on
or
for
otherwise.
Bone
Yeah.
Tomahawk, which has a pretty brutal bisection. I wanted to say about this short, it's loosely based on a Batman story called The Batman Nobody Knows, and it's the idea that Batman's reputation changes depending on who's telling the story, which also reminds me of when you are flying around in Gotham City. If you stay like in the video games, if you stay on a ledge, you can kind of hear the goons talking, or in the cartoon, the goons will be talking about what they how they see Batman. And I think this little short did a good job of covering all of it.
You'd be like, you hear what happened to Johnny Gat? And you're like,
Yeah, I heard the bat killed him.
the bat, yeah, no, fucking.
He fell off the roof, and when they found it, there ain't no blood left in the body.
There ain't no such thing as the bat.
Yeah.
Oh shit, it's the bat.
Oh shit, it's the bat.
It is almost more fun because of the way this opens, where Batman. It might be the only short in the anthology where, no, that's not true. Batman does actually say something right at the end, but for the majority of the short, Batman doesn't speak, doesn't talk, doesn't exposit anything, right? So everything we're learning about Batman is coming from these 4 kids talking about, what's up. I thought that was a lot of fun.
It is.
We kind of get tired of listening to the superhero talk about how cool he is.
I was hoping that this was like when I remember when I first watched this, I was like, is the whole thing going to be like people telling stories about Batman? Like that would be such a cool thing for the entirety of the movie to be. It's not the case, but I mean, this one in particular, I think it tickles me in a way that the other ones don't. Like the other ones I enjoy for Batman, but this is a cool thing.
This is a cool thing. And the
To
one
that
thing,
note, though, you do see other versions of Batman through the same lens. Like when he's on the fear gust, they see him as like this like nightmare blob. In one of them, he's like 7 feet tall and like just a hulking figure on fire. So they kind of do keep that theme through it. This is a great one to start it off with. Sorry, Alex. I didn't.
No, what I was going to say is that this one, I'm at odds with the first one because I think it's probably my favorite.
Mhm.
And I feel like it should have been the last one, but it's also the perfect way to introduce Batman.
Yeah.
So
I think
it's
they
like,
probably
it has
grappled
to
with
be
that,
first,
yeah.
but it still might be the best.
They probably grappled with that while they were, because it does kind of feel flat at the end though. But like if it ended with like, have I got a story to tell you? Like that would have been such a good credit drop that I'm shocked that it isn't the last one. And I
But
think
it's the
also
best
might be
intro
too.
into that. It's
sure.
kind of like a little taste.
But that's also that's them being like, well, what if people don't know who Batman is? It's like everybody knows who fucking Batman is. Everybody.
It
But I
felt
mean,
a little bit like.
after the. Sorry, go ahead, Jason.
I was gonna say it felt a little bit like a Tales from the Crypt episode.
Yeah, and I mean that's a good way to capture the fact that Batman is. It's like the
Crypt Keeper should come on Gotham Radio. It's
next
Now
time.
we have the Crypt Keeper.
hello.
But yeah, the idea that the myth is far more terrifying to criminals than the man in the suit. Like that's well established for Batman, and so I think this really captured that well. Where it's like, what are the concepts or ideas or the myths about Batman that we know? You guys are talking about, like Jason, when you're saying, when you're playing the game, you're standing and hearing the thoughts of the criminals. Like those are the myths they hear, right? That's what keeps them up at night. A man in a suit, whatever, he's real, but like this shadow that sucks your blood, like how are you supposed to fight that, right? It scares the crap out of you. So
That is a theme in a lot of Batman like situations where and that's Batman's own thing. He fell into the Batcave and got blasted by bats, and he was like, "Oh, I'm afraid of bats, and people are afraid of bats, but I'm going to harness that fear and become the fear,
But
and
even
become
that-
the bat.
That's like one rendition, right? Like that's
True.
not even like
Yeah.
that's not even like a standardized thing across all of Batman stories. It's like that's Nolan's version, or that's Schumacher's version. Like in Schumacher's, it's like he fell in a cave when he was a kid and he saw one giant bat.
Yeah.
And then in Nolan's one, it's like he got swarmed by bats as a kid and he's like, bats freak me the fuck out. But then there's also ones where it's just like he's completely fine with bats, but he also like understands that people are scared of bats. The bats are a scary thing, and I have a bat cave under my house. Maybe I should just make this my base of operation. There's different ways to go about telling the story, but like that's exactly what this is too, right? Where it is also setting you up for the idea that these are all unique individual stories that are idealized by different people, and clearly they've been given free reign to do whatever they want in terms of visual style, which I really like, because every single episode has a very different and unique version of Batman. Some of them look straight out of the comics. Some of them look like stuff you've never seen before. Others, like you said, Jason, he's like a big fucking bear man being like, and
Well, it reminded me of our conversation we had when we were talking about Batman recently, where the new Ultimate Batman or whatever, and he's a giant blue collar worker and he's like 7 feet tall and he just strangles all of his opponents. So his rogues gallery are all like even more insane. But this time when he's 7 feet tall, he's just fighting Maroni and the Russian. It's more about the
that's another disappointment thing. But yeah, we'll get to that when we get to that. So this, I mean, I guess we didn't really talk about the robot one, but it's kind of it's cool. It's like they're on some sort of like observation deck of a skyscraper in Gotham, and this kid is just hanging out there, as kids do. I'm bored, I'm gonna go hang out on the observation deck of the tallest building in the city.
Yeah, he's at the Empire State Building basically.
And for some reason, a psychopath. I mean, I guess he's not a psychopath. He's just a robber. He shows up and he's like, "Ladies and gentlemen, nobody will be injured if you put all of your valuables into this neatly opened briefcase. Also, these guns can destroy entire bronze brass doors."
Yeah.
And then Batman shows up in, I assume, is the Batwing, but it's like a crazy, like Final Fantasy style, like airship, and he launches himself out like a cannon. I think it's the shortest of the three, where it's just like the kid being like, "I ain't afraid of you." He's like, you didn't say that. And he's like, "Yes, I did."
Well, most of that bit of the short is just this kid trying to be a punk, and then Robo Batman shows up for a half a second, and when they go off on a jetpack journey.
Yeah, because the whole thing is in reverse order of how they're telling it. This was the first one. The villain jetpacks off the top of the building, fights Man-Bat, and then he gets thrown into the water. And at the very beginning of the first one, you see him climb out of the water. So I liked that interesting continuity, and it was fun to notice.
It's cool. Yeah, it's also like these kids are just going about their day with all of which have the goal to get to the skate park to hang out in the evening or whatever. And I mean, I think Alex and I maybe have the unique experience of like, oh man, you saw Batman? I'm never gonna get to see Batman.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's one thing I really like about this too, is that it really drives home a lot of the fact that it's like we know what Batman's like because when we're watching Batman shit, Batman's there. But it's like all these people, everybody that Batman encounters is for the most part seeing him for the first time. And an overwhelming majority of people in Gotham have only just heard about Batman.
Just like the Brampton Batman. When we were younger, there was a man that dressed as Batman in our city, and everybody was like, and there would be news articles and newspapers and on TV of the Brampton Batman, and he would walk around and he would just like, he would mostly
help people out.
Yeah,
he had a Batmobile as well.
Yeah, he was being a Batman, and I hadn't seen him for so long, and then one day I finally saw him, and I was like, "He's real."
I saw him semi-frequently. One time I picked up my brother from a bar, and we were driving home, and he's like, Al, stop the car. And I thought he was going to puke or whatever, and he rolled down the window and he yelled, "Batman!" And I looked over, and Brampton Batman was just at the intersection standing there, and I was
waiting
like, "Whoa!"
for the light to turn. never jaywalk.
And then another time I went to the Santa Claus parade, and they had like a bunch of superheroes or whatever, and they're all in like whatever Party City shitty costumes. And then I was like, I'm like, oh, that Batman looks pretty good though, and it was like real Batman. I'm like, oh fuck, that's Batman. I'm like,
Brampton Batman.
yeah, it's Brampton Batman.
You pan
So
over,
that was
it's
exciting.
I've seen Toronto Spider-Man several times.
Oh, I've seen him 100 times.
Yeah, every time you look in the mirror, baby.
I remember I worked with a guy who was like, was seriously considering making like a screen accurate Joker costume so that he could go challenge Brampton Batman and just like throw water balloons at him or something. And I'm like, that would be so funny, but I wouldn't throw a water balloon. I don't know what it's going to do to his screen accurate costume.
Yeah, exactly.
Batman and Joker are fighting in downtown Brampton of all places.
In front of the 7-Eleven. Yeah.
I see that every time I leave my house.
Yeah. So at the very end of the short, basically Batman and the Man in Black bust through the glass and they end up having the rest of their fight right in front of all these kids. And I believe the kid from the top of the observation deck is the one that jumps in and helps. Sort of.
It's the kid who hasn't seen.
He's the kid.
So this is him seeing Bat. Okay.
Yeah.
He literally says, "Man, I'm never going to get to see Batman," and then Batman smashes through the
Batman shows up,
Yeah.
and then he saves the day with a skateboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which just goes to show you, it's not even about the man in the suit, right?
No.
Isn't that his whole shtick too? That the people have to rise up and take what's theirs.
Anyone in Gotham, if they have the guts, they can give a criminal brain damage.
If they have the guts, ninjutsu, and billions of dollars,
right.
Batman. You beat the Christ out of a normal person who's for a supervillain.
I do want to say on a maybe a more sub-social level in the overall visualizations and plot descriptions and the way stories were told throughout this anthology. There's a moment, I think it's the second kid, she's skating down the street, just being a kid skating, and then suddenly there's a bunch of cops, and they're like, "Hey, you can't." And I'm like, Jesus, she's just skating. What's the problem? Is it because she's black? So that's what I thought. And then I kept watching the rest of this whole anthology, and there were some funny themes about race that kept coming up. So I don't know if that was accidental or
I bet the Gotham police is racist as fuck.
Yeah, they're basically ICE at this point. And they
I bet they send other precincts to Gotham to learn how to be more racist.
Gotta be it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're throwing it in there, because I would be lying if I were to say I did not have the same thought of this clearly like towering white man grabbing like a little girl by her wrists and just like grimacing hard at her, and I'm like, she wasn't really bothering anybody. There was like one person who was like, "Hey, slow down," and the cop's like, "Yeah, you heard the lady."
Before that's pretty much the sketch or the short. Before we move on, I just wanted to point out the Batman sketch. I just wanted to point out the director for this one was Shōjirō Nishimi of Studio 4C, who has worked on the two other
played
movies.
by Liam Neeson.
Yeah, played by Liam Neeson, who worked on a short for Memories and one for The Animatrix, and also Berserk: The Golden Age Arc, which is a 2D, 3D animation representation of the Berserk anime that came out in the 90s. And I just wanted to shout it out because it's very good. And
I think
Shinjiro, it's awesome. Shinjiro Nishimi also worked on the animation department for Akira. So shout out to that individual.
It's a good pedicure.
One of the
pedigree.
Yeah,
pedicure. I was going to say.
Yeah, we did Akira on this show once.
Yeah,
we should probably do it again.
Did we do Akira?
We did. Yeah, it was.
Oh, that was animation.
It was in the time before time. The before time. Yeah,
one of the redo ones.
When there was a fourth beard.
Yeah. But with that, we can move to the next one that it feels like more like a traditional anime, and that is
CROSSFIRE.
CROSSFIRE. Don't get caught up in the crossfire.
that went through everybody's head, right? When we saw the title
Yes.
Crossfire, yeah, I figured.
Steve,
around
if
in
you're
the
not
90s
old, don't worry about it.
Yeah, forget it.
Yeah.
Doesn't
If you're
matter.
not old, you're dead.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Or young.
Steve, do you want to give us the brief synopsis for this one?
Okay. So this one is about two Gotham City Police Department.
Major crimes unit.
They're the major crimes unit. Yeah, I was gonna say.
They kept saying MCU.
I know. I was
MCU,
like,
I know.
like
the
MCU.
Marvel Cinematic Universe.
It made me question my own thought because I was about to say MCU, and I'm like, that's not right, is it? And I'm like, no, it is. That is right. Yeah, it's just not what my brain wants. But yeah, what are their names are?
Chris Allen and Anna Ramirez, and they're from the Batman Nolanverse movies and other stuff.
I think they're also in the comics as well, but because there is I was obsessed with a run of comics called
Batman.
GCPD, which were stories that were told from the police department's perspective of Batman. So Batman was sort of this shadow that would appear throughout, and they'd have to be dealing with like regular crime, and then all of a sudden Mr. Freeze would be like freezing people to death, and they'd be like, what the fuck, man, what the hell? And they'd have to like do a forensic analysis of all these like frozen people at like a banquet dinner, and they're like, holy hell, he killed all these people. Whereas Mr. Freeze is like, freeze! If you don't put your hands up, things are gonna get real chilly in here.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to give you the cold shoulder. So all of this like bullshit is happening around them, but yeah, it's a really like interesting comic. But just to see the perspective of people when like an Avenger or a Justice League level event happens in the middle of Gotham, where like a portal opens and there's like hellfire raining down, and these like cops are like, what do we do? I'm so scared.
That's like Halo ODST.
Yeah.
And this episode reminded me a lot of like the early the early version of that comic book before it got like wild, where they're having to deal with gods and stuff showing up. But yeah, it's from the perspective of these two police officers, one of whom respects Batman, one of whom does not really respect Batman and thinks that he should be locked up just like all the other psychopaths in the city. And they've been tasked with escorting a prisoner to Arkham Island, locking him up, and then they have to go about their business and get back to the city. And they accidentally stop in the middle of a meeting between two very large criminal syndicates in the city, who then start trying to murder each other. And then
Batman dumps off this is it's an important catalyst to their explanations of how they feel about Batman, because it starts with Batman dropping off a fugitive to Lieutenant Gordon, and then Gordon tells them to bring this guy to Arkham.
I think they call him the tech maniac or something. Like, whoa, it's Franklin Saint Nipple Dipple, the techno maniac or whatever.
It's actually Jacob Tilly. Yeah, it's the Man in Black from Part 1.
Oh, okay. There we
go.
So
that's their continuity from the first one into the second one. But
I think that's a good synopsis.
I have a note here that says, in quotations,
does Zardos approve?
It was
I don't think he approves, because I shouldn't have been the one to do that. I don't know why you made me do it, Jason. But Zardos,
I'm going to make everybody do one.
Zardos approves.
Thanks, guys. You really helped me out on that. I wasn't really.
I don't know when I'm supposed to seek Zardos's approval.
When you're synopsizing something.
Yeah.
He only cares about things being shortened for his digestion.
But I wrote what I imagine was a quote from Batman when he dropped the guy off, which was, okay, I found this guy, send his crazy ass back to the loony bin. Yeah. And then they see him through the window, and the guy is not happy that Batman is involved in police matters.
Like, he's in there right fucking now. Doing our job. What the fuck? I hate this shit. And then
and then they end up in the most Gotham parking spot imaginable.
Well, before we get to the actual Crossfire, there's also a through line here where Bruce Wayne is going to be putting a satellite into space, and I'm also wondering. So you guys covered like it's the Man in Black from the first one. and the Battlite, and Alan and Detective Alan and Ramirez. They want to deal with Maroni and like the street level crime, but this villain from the first short needs to be transported to. This is what I wanted to ask you. Does this universe have like its own kind of Arkham City situation? Because they take him to this area of Gotham that is a city. It's an island. It's a
well. What I gathered was if this is somewhere in the Nolan verse, that there's like a big breakout in the Narrows, and then all the from the asylum. And
but that's not until Batman Dark Knight Rises, right?
No,
that happens in the first one. Batman
I thought
Begins.
it was after the first one. Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen that in
Batman.
time.
In Batman Begins, they Arkham Asylum is broken loose and the fear gas goes everywhere, and then they make it more difficult for that to happen again. So they remove Arkham Asylum from the city and make it its own thing.
Oh, okay.
And so I figured that that's where this was falling. That you got this like Jurassic Park style of criminals out in the world, but they're trapped in this area. Yeah. And then you get two cops in plain clothes with no body armor and just a regular grandma's car, and they're like, "Go put this dude in your back seat and go drop him off. But don't worry, if you keep your windows up and your doors locked, you'll be fine."
It's a real Halloween situation.
Yeah.
Right? Michael Myers is in there. Yeah,
it's like
we've got Chucky, a possessed puppet. We've got Jason Voorhees, a zombie. We've got Michael Myers, just a real maniac, and I'm pretty sure the embodiment of evil. This is Quincy Sharp, by the way, the Arkham Asylum dean. What is he? The warden, I guess, where he's just like, we've spared no expense. He's got a cane with like amber with like a killer croc tooth in it or something.
It felt like I was watching Attack on Titan sometimes. Like when those orderlies came out to get them, they're like,
yeah.
It was very
come with us.
And the streets felt like a zombie movie too, with like the meandering.
This is what I mean by like the tone shifts so heavily with those 3-point factors, where like it's so different, the character that they're bringing versus the one that we saw in the first one. That I didn't even realize it was the same guy. And I've seen this multiple times and I didn't realize it was the same guy. Until you just said it, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense that it is. That's the through point. But in the first one, he's like kind of this charming, like, ladies and gentlemen, I won't kill any of you if you jewelry in this box. And then now he's like, hey,
he's Charles Manson in this for some reason. Yeah.
And he sees everybody as like a chattering, like no gummed maniac man, being like, welcome back, Friedley. We're putting you in the big house again. So it switches the tone, and like it happens every single time. But I mean, there's only so much you can do, I guess, when it's like that's the connective tissue. You can work from there and do whatever you want. But it's disappointing to me because like I don't dislike this one, but I feel like if you're dealing with Arkham Asylum, you got to do something wild with it. No, they go to Arkham Asylum and they leave, and then they
drop them off at the gate.
And
then it's just like the stupid fucking like the Maronis and the Russians and shit. Like, oh my god, I fucking hate this shit. Just Batman beating up regular people is so boring to
me. I've always been so bored. I like it in the context of the show The Penguin, but otherwise I hate Falcone and Maroni being like so much of the Nolan verse just because he wanted to ground it in like more reality. But then they use it in other stuff too. And I'm just like, I want to see Mr. Freeze or the Joker or Man-Bat or Killer Croc, which we do get a bit of that in this. But
I think that they allowed them to do some stuff, but not others. Where like Killer Croc is something that I feel like Christopher Nolan was like, I'll never do that ever.
Yeah.
You can use that if you want to. We've already done Scarecrow. Go ahead. I'm not going to be doing another Scarecrow thing, so you can kind of take that and do whatever you want with it. The first one is just basically just Batman and this technomaniac or whatever the fuck. I can't remember what his actual name is, but
it's just the Man in Black.
The Man in Black. The Man in Black, technomaniac. That's what he says. He signs his name that way at the bank. Yeah.
Here comes the Man in Black.
Here comes the technomaniac in black. So
what I liked about this was that it sets up I feel like every single one of these every single one of these sections tries to focus on a specific myth or a trope of Batman. And one of the biggest ones is he's a vigilante, right?
Yeah.
He operates outside of the law. And I think that's where this whole thing opens, right? Ramirez and Alan are driving in the car, and Alan's like, Batman took our jobs. You know, it's like the usual, like, he's a vigilante. We can't let him, you know, we're the law. Like, how come we're doing his deliveries for him?
We're his cleanup crew. But also, like, I do think it's funny when he's like, he's a vigilante, and she's like, he's not. And I'm like sitting there watching. I'm like, by definition, he is though. Like, literally, look it up.
All superheroes are. But also, it goes from Chris Allen's character is in a few of these, and that's another through line of the whole story where like they become better friends to the point that Gordon doesn't even put up the sign in one of them. It's him meeting Batman. But also they treat Batman like this normal guy a lot of the time. But then you get dun 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 dun. You know, like they also show Batman as this incredible like nightmare character.
Well, and he saves Alan, right? And then Alan is
and his pride must hurt because he goes off on how Batman sucks, and then he's the one who rescues him.
Ripped him out, yeah.
Then Batman's like, "Hey, dude, you want to get a beer?" And
I wrote Batman just saved Rude because in that scene he looked like Rude from Final Fantasy VII.
Yep.
There was a lot of fun moments in this one, though, which were also confusing, right? Because they're trying to set this this dangerous landscape of these crazy escaped inmates who are living in this sort of no man's land in the Narrows, and then you get graffiti on the walls that says, "If you lived here, you'd be dead by now." or there's like a weird zoom in at one point. I can't exactly remember if it's after. No, it's at the point where I think Feely grabs Ramirez and is going to blow her brains off, or was the Russian actually? And then it zooms in on a weird bag with like,
"I'm going to blow your brains off."
I want to
blow off the brains. There's like a bag of like floppy disks laying around.
I thought that was going to be something more. I didn't really know why they do on that for a second.
There's all these funny little moments which captured my attention in some ways more than the actual insanity of what was happening in this little short. And I don't really know what that was about. Oh, and the other thing that I did enjoy, which continues in future shorts, is the B story of the will they won't they between Alan and Ramirez. And his line where she's like,
Deadshot throws a drinkster through a bee.
Spoiler alert. But yeah, when they're like arguing and Alan's like, "I'm gonna leave the MCU. I'm not doing this," and she's like,
"I'm gonna join the DCU."
Gordon just picked you, and he's like, "It's been 6 weeks. It's not like we're married." And I'm like,
yeah.
You're gonna get married.
Also, I do think canonically Ramirez is a lesbian, so I don't think that.
Oh, well, there you go.
Well,
you learn something new every day.
I see. The thing is Batman. There's not as much Batman, and I know there's a lot of human in this.
Human.
But I think it's necessary for this one because I think every single one kind of addresses each of these different anthology pieces address a different aspect of Batman. Like the first one is the legend of Batman, and then it's like then there's one that's like, the Bruce Wayne side of Batman. But this is almost just the violence. Like it's purely the strength of Batman. There's no emotion, there's no gadget, there's no sleuth, there's no investigation, there's no Bruce. It's just
shows up. Yeah.
It's just the impact. It's like the percussion.
So I think for me, like I completely agree with you, and I think that it works for the short because like in my brain, I'm like, I want them to have gone up against something that they could absolutely never take care of, like the Riddler with like a bunch of like hyenas with flamethrowers in their mouths or something, like it's like something crazy where these people would be like, we can't deal with this, and then Batman shows up and saves them. That would be, that would show Alan that like we do need Batman because we have psychopaths like this in the city. But I guess like to have to concede my own point is like the fact that they can't even deal with just the regular people. Like they get in a position where they have to be rescued by Batman from normal people with guns.
They're talking about the Russian and how they're going to take down the Russian. Like they bring up the Russian and then he's there, and then it's like they can't. They can't. Yeah.
So I think that it
rocket
works.
launcher, and they're like, okay, well, we're dead.
I think that it works, but like I do wish that it was like, Poison Ivy or some shit.
Yeah.
I want it to be like a crazy villain because then it shows Alan will see then like, oh yeah, I forgot we need this human demigod to take care of these other human demigods
but I feel like that doesn't legitimize Batman.
No, you're right.
Fairly enough.
Yeah.
If it's just like, okay, oh yeah, like the Riddler is there, and then he beats up the Riddler, and he's like, oh yeah, we need Batman for those guys. But this is like a demonstration,
just regular people,
of how it's like Batman is.
As much as I hate to admit it, I think that it works way better with just the Russian and the Maroni or whatever. But like, I know where you're coming from, but that is an aspect of Batman. Is Batman finds normal criminals and is brutal. Well, I mean, the image that Jason shows of him walking out of the fire is like, oh yeah, he can walk into hell and then walk.
And that's just the invincibility of Batman.
Yeah,
I like when he does his like.
All right, my score for this one went up.
Yeah,
I couldn't stop thinking about how Batman's little patch of. Like, did he go in there being like, I'm going to get lit on fire tonight, so I have to put like fire gel all over my little patch here.
He probably just has it in his belt, like
bat gel.
Yeah, he just has one that opens and he sticks his hand and it comes out like burn gel, bat burn gel.
So he doesn't get Anakin.
I think he has just one line at the end in this one too, right? Where he says something like, Gordon knows how to pick the good ones or something, or has a good sense of character. Good judge of character. He's a good
judge of character, yeah.
And I think that's what Chris hears that, and he's like, God damn it, I love you, Batman.
Yeah.
But I did also like Maroni, how psychotic he was at the end when he has the gun to Anna's head, and he's just like, come on, Bat, I'm a gangster.
I thought that was interesting as well, because usually these guys are portrayed as just like, we're the bad guys of Gotham. And then it's like, Bane shows up and he's like, I'm going to break all spines in my vicinity. So like to have them also be like portrayed as maniacs as well, because they have to be, right? They kill people constantly. They're obsessed with power and money. And it's like, you'd have to be insane to be able to do that as well, right? So they're just as crazy as the crazies.
Yeah, you're right, Steve. This was the best one.
No! I gotta say, I have to say, I appreciate the perspective, Alex, that you're bringing to this short about, how it's about the power of Batman, minus all of the other stuff. It's just like really honing in on this singular aspect. He's a vigilante, yes. Everybody else is upset about it. They don't know how to deal with that because, they have standard protocols that they have to follow. Batman gets to do whatever he wants. But but the fact is, it's because he gets to do whatever he wants that, everybody is saved at the end.
Yeah. And I feel like in all of them, I feel like Batman in general is a hero. So it's like, here is this hero. But I like that this gives him time. It treats him as like a necessity, almost like, you know what I mean, like the natural antibody to what Gotham is.
Yeah.
Where does this?
I mean, there was some funny, like, again, the way that I think they carried the story in this short was a bit truncated. It's like, Batman's got a delivery. Oh man, I hate doing Batman deliveries. Oh no, let's have an argument. Let's stop the car here. What? There's a bunch of bad guys who don't see a car right in the middle. Anyway, like there's a lot of weird stuff going on.
For sure.
And I'm kind of like, did they name the short first? Or did they say, what should we call the short after there is a literal crossfire? And they're like, oh, we should call it Crossfire. You know, there's so many different
Crossfire
ways
also
that,
sounds like a villain that would exist in the Deadshot like pantheon.
Yeah,
Or, like,
yeah,
we gotta get Crossfire on this.
exactly. Yeah.
It
He's
also-
always between Batman and Deadshot.
Yeah.
It's also
God
kind
damn
of
it.
it's like a reference to the actual detectives in Batman sort of crossing their paths. I think.
I like that.
Also, like before we wrap this up, I do recommend everybody seek out GCPD if you have the time. It's so worth it. It's so interesting to see the perspective of these officers and like to find like a grizzled Bullock who's like alcoholic and being like, what do you mean you want me to come back? The Bat not taking care of business. Like all of
Did
this.
you ever watch Gotham?
Yeah.
I watched every single episode of that show.
I liked Gotham.
I watched
I thought
every
Gotham
single
was
episode
fine.
of that too. I have
I thought it was
opinions
fine.
on Gotham, but
I like the final season a lot. more
I
than
didn't like
people
the
do.
portrayal of women in that show. It was
Yeah.
it was a huge issue for me because like they would create these interesting female characters and then they would always turn them into evil villains who were just like, I'm a girl now and I'm taking over because I'm a girl. I'm like, oh no.
And
What
they
did you do to
infantilized
this
the women
smart,
a lot
cool
too.
character? She's just now like, and I love whips and fucking. I'm like, okay, what the fuck is happening in this show?
Yeah.
That's what
also-
happened every time. Like, every single time.
Both of Gordon's ex-girlfriends get together and we're like, we're girls.
Now we're girls together.
Yeah, that,
Now we're
yeah,
girls
you're
together.
that definitely, yeah. Yeah, what
I'm
were the
younger,
names?
I'm a
Whips
younger
and
girl
fucking?
now.
Yeah, it was like pussy and fucking or something.
It's like one battle after another.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we move on, though, I just wanted to shout out the director, Futoshi Higashide. If you go to his IMDb, he's worked on so many things. Just so much anime in the animation department as well as direction. Lots of like Dragon Ball and stuff like that, like famous anime. And it was Production IG, which is one that we haven't really touched on before, but also another production house that has just done so much stuff. And the unique thing about this one is it does look like a traditional anime. It looks like early 2000s.
Yeah, it reminds me of what was that, Cyber 6? That movie.
Yeah.
That show. Remember that show?
Yeah.
Not as stylized, but it had that sort of like that kind of like flat, but like also colorful and like interesting angles and stuff that you don't see traditionally. And it felt expensive, when you watch like a show. that you could tell they put a lot of elbow grease into the animation. Yeah, it had a lot.
Oh, do you know what's crazy? It's
What?
funny you said that earlier.
Everyone in Arkham
Alex.
Asylum. Good.
No, yes, but guess what Production IG worked on? That's Attack on Titan.
Yeah, yeah. It reminded me of Attack on Titan.
Somehow you did that in an accent. I don't know how, but you did.
Yeah.
No, the orderlies, like when the orderlies came on screen, on my little note thing I wrote, I'm like, this reminds me of Attack on Titan.
I can
Whoa.
see it now.
There's
The way you
definitely
said-
definite cross contamination.
The way you said Scream just then made me think of the movie Scream, and then I was like, they should do a Scream anime anthology.
They
That would
absolutely
fucking
should.
rule. Like,
It would be
imagine like a bunch of like weird Scream
Across the
shows.
country.
across the
Popular.
Spider Verse.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, maybe not the hugest IPs, but like stuff like Scream, where it's like they've got the money,
Yeah.
they could do it, throw it around, see what comes
Yeah,
out.
and
of
it's not so big that they're precious about it.
yeah, people aren't.
Yeah,
gonna
it gets
lose their
worse
mind.
with every iteration, arguably.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
A Spider-Man one would be sick in this. Like every superhero could have a cool
Yeah,
name.
you could do it with anything.
You
You
could
could
do it
probably do it
anyway
with this fucking show.
with the way did you see this one? If people want to animate different shorts about the guests and the co-hosts.
Let's explore the depths of it in the video.
Yeah, yeah,
What if Naveed was the host?
yeah.
What if I was the algorithm?
Whoa.
Glitch at it. I think you got to change the theme song.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like agreeing slightly, not as much as Steve is. I feel like this one is still weak for me compared to where they opened.
Yeah. I think that Alex changed my mind a little bit.
Here, how about this? My last note on this one, where I wrote, Batman looks like Agamemnon.
Okay.
All right. Okay. I'm in. That's all right.
Number one.
Number one.
It's the best of them all.
Trust me, I get it, but I think it's just from the just the kind of they got to highlight that aspect, which I appreciated it. But the beginning, like most of it wasn't that strong.
I will say, the vigilante trope and all of that, I think, was done quite well in this, even though it fell flat for me a little bit in terms of how it was paced. It still was better than the next one.
We never briefed Naveed on my affliction. I like everything.
Yeah.
I absolutely. I am
bisections even.
Yeah, anything like
Love
everything I watch.
bisections.
I think I joke, but I don't know if it's a joke that I basically don't have any media literacy. I know when things are better than other things. Like, and I'll definitely watch a movie or a show.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, wow. I'm like, I'm like, I like that. But I know in my head, I'm like, I bet people really didn't like this one.
I think that, like,
Alex, you're the kind of guy that leaves a review on Google that says it was fine, I guess. 5 stars.
Yeah. No, but I think it's just maybe I just like if I don't know a story already and I hear the story is told to me, I'm like, oh, now I know it. And I think whatever reason that's all right.
Honestly, have a hard time reviewing movies because I think that like on 30, I can't make that movie, so it's great.
On 30 episodes of Alex being on the show, there was one, I don't remember the movie, but there was one time where you're like, even I think that this is bad.
I knew it was bad. Oh, it was what was Garbage Day? What was that movie?
Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Deadly Night. Dude. And I'm like, obviously this movie's shit, but I mean, I loved watching it. It was wicked.
That movie is fun though. It's very
fun. It is fun. That is actually good because of how shitty it is.
Yeah.
You don't want like middle. You don't want something that's not shitty enough to be funny.
Yeah. I played that Garbage Day clip about 20 times during that episode.
Garbage Day. You played it about 60 times in that episode.
Yeah. Okay.
So
yeah, I mean, just my final thought on it is like, I like the perspective-based angle, and I like the Agamemnon coming out of the fire at the end. Like, I agree that like him being like basically like a giant monster man is cool. Like it is cool. Like it's not bad, but I just feel like there could be more here. So I'm not even gonna rank it yet. I'm gonna have it as a float. But right now the first one is still number one for me. Yeah.
Me too. After we start talking about the next one, I'm gonna get a pen so I can write them down officially. But this one isn't at the top because it's not Batman enough, but that scene of him walking through the fire is my favorite part of the whole.
It's the most Batman thing in the whole movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Are we going to go on to field test?
Field test.
Field test.
Batmanime.
Batmanimation.
Definitely.
Alex, do you want to take a crack? Don't talk about. Just let Alex say.
Oh no, I'm so bad at doing it.
You can do it.
You can do it.
Naveed can also do it. I feel like dictating who does it is not the right move, Jason. I feel like if someone's comfortable.
As soon as you told me to summarize it, I forgot what happened.
Yeah, I mean, I can do it, Alex, if you want to.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's not up to me. It's up to
Jason, apparently.
It's up to Zardos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though
I say Naveed.
Oh my god!
Are you the voice of Zardos?
Right.
No.
Yeah. So I think in field test, so there's this setup originally of in the first one, right, about or the second one about Wayncom satellites going up and like there's this whole thing about this technology kind of that's getting set up, but then there's Lucius Fox starts talking about how there's I guess there's like a bullet that bounces off of his club or his armor, and then he ends up developing sort of this gyroscope thingy that creates an EMP, and basically it's like a new piece of technology that can deflect small arms fire.
Yeah.
And Batman's like, hey, this is cool. Let's test it out in the field. So then he decides to, I think that's the night where he decides to go out and hijack one of two yachts. Oh, by the way, guess who's back?
The Russian and
Maroni. Yeah, our two favorite thugs who now have yachts. And then he drives the yachts into each other, and then he attacks them. And then while he's fighting, all the thugs start shooting at him, but then this super bullet deflection device activates, and bullets are just getting ping, pong, ping off of this like cool magnetic shield thingy he's got going on.
Yeah, it's like a
so Batman's
shield
beating everybody up. He beats everybody up, and then he threatens Maroni and the Russian. Is like, I'll get you guys on something, but for now, you in this corner, you in that corner. And they're like, But then one thug comes back. He's got a cool red jacket, and he says, no, man.
This is too detailed to be too much detail.
He shoots Batman's device, deflects the bullet. It hits the guy. He starts to feel guilty, rushes him to the hospital because he's like, I can't let people die. Batman doesn't do that. And then in the end, he gives Lucius the device back, and he basically says, like, I can't use
This
things
is too much bad for one man.
Yeah.
He does. Yeah, he's like, I mean, and this is where, this is where the whole thing about Batman, the theme for this one gets captured, where he's like, I put my life on the line so that other people don't have to, and I won't do anything. I won't use guns because I'm not out here to hurt other people. I'm here to stop them. So he's not going to use technology that puts others at risk.
The reason I'm laughing is because you're doing a synopsis, and the line that he says is, "I put my life on the line, but it has to be mine." You took a line and you made it like 10 times longer.
10 times longer, yeah,
than the actual line.
But thanks, Steve. That's it. I say that again. I took a what? Yeah, it's my life or no one else's, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's an in-depth summary that we will determine.
We can almost move on to the next one now.
I was going to say that's going to come back. Well, there's that. Let's move on to the next one. But does Zardos approve of that?
No, I mean, we could talk about that.
Zardos says too long. Zardos approves.
No, he approves. He approves.
Yeah,
Zardos always approves.
Can I jump in right away after the synopsis, because you guys love hearing me talk at length. One of my favorite parts of this whole thing is there's the first annual golf tournament for the homeless. I just love the way that it did that, like that pan of this banner that just keeps going on and on and on and on and on. And I was like, this is great. The fag. I'm like, really? Nobody checked the acronym?
That was my nickname in high school.
Yeah. But so, and then
I've never heard that word pronounced with a lisp at the end.
I have.
There's a lot of these funny jokes, right? Where he's like, oh, they're building a new neighborhood. The first thing they put in was a golf course. And then later on, it's like, I've got some business to tend to. Ooh, is it blonde or brunette? No, half Italian, half Russian. Oh, sounds like a handful.
Yeah.
I think he does one of these. He goes,
The idea too that's insane to me is that it's this golf tournament for the homeless. Obviously, it's for charity, but it's the way they're saying it. And Bruce Wayne clearly hates this guy because he's pretty altruistic. But the whole thing reeks of like, Bruce Wayne has the ability to be better as a billionaire, and it's not talked about enough. I don't think that
he could build housing or something, couldn't he?
Yeah,
he just wants to beat up poor people.
Yeah, he's like, I'll do that tomorrow. Tonight, I am the night.
Tonight I'm gonna dress. Yeah, that's tonight I want vengeance.
I have to be vengeance.
Yeah.
I am the night.
I mean, there's some real funny stuff that happens, right? Like, I feel like they dropped the ball on this. Like,
what is
even
the
if
through point for this one? Does anyone know?
Well,
The satellite.
The is the satellite, yeah, and Teresa, somebody or other. Isn't there like there's somebody who they talk about at the beginning of the episode who was assassinated. She was like,
yeah, the person that gets
Russian...
assassinated was the person that was trying to fight against them building this.
Exactly. Yeah.
But the thing is like they just kind of brush it to the side because clearly there's like she got killed in the crossfire. I don't know if that was a reference to the crossfire, but she says that it's like the thugs
that was
of this town.
I think the implication is that they killed her.
Yes.
Yeah, then they just blamed it on the gang violence.
On the thugs that she protected.
Yeah.
And that through line comes back, I think, in the fifth or sixth short. But like there's something about all these people being assassinated, right?
Yeah.
So
but I mean, they put this satellite up and then it immediately crashed because of the gyroscope thing inside of it. And I'm pretty sure that satellite was being put up there so Bruce Wayne could use on his TV of cell phones that he has in the second movie.
But it's also the crux of the technology, which is cool. Whereas like Lucius is like, at first I thought it was a meteorite or something. He says something like that or whatever, and then he's like
Morgan Freeman.
I mean, the guy is kind of doing a Morgan Freeman voice.
That's true.
He's doing his best Morgan Freeman. But he's like, but now I've reduced it down to a more improved and badass technology. Watch this, Mr. Wayne. And it's like a very cool anime orb, like an orb of energy that deflects bullets. Like I think that's quite cool.
Yeah.
It's more science fiction-y than anything we'll ever see in a Nolan movie, but like Nolan tries to have the science fiction elements in there, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's some funny stuff that happens though. Again, like with the previous short, there's a bunch of things that fall out in the plot. Like this Anton kid with the cool red jacket who gets a stray bullet from this like warp field, deflector field, and then Batman puts him in the Batmobile, and then he's like driving crazy to the hospital, and then at some point once he gets to the hospital, Anton pulls a gun.
Yeah.
Batman didn't check him for guns first. Yeah.
You didn't frisk him. What is going on?
Maybe that was Batman's gun. We know that Batman is horny for guns in the next episode.
Why did Anton wait until he got to the hospital? Why didn't Anton shoot him while he's in the Batmobile? There's just so many funny
moments. Why didn't Anton
moments
seek medical attention instead of pulling a gun?
Yeah.
So, it's just funny. And then I mean, at the end, how they unceremoniously when Bruce is like, "Yeah, I'm not using this anymore," and Lucius is like, "All right," and he just like drops it into a dusty desk.
It's true, and I bet there's so many things.
It's a bunch of Batman tech.
Yeah,
like
that's just
like a drawer full of not approved Batman tech.
But I was wondering, see, he didn't want to use this specifically for when he's taking out a group of guys shooting him with guns. But if he had this technology for DEADSHOT later, it would be no contest.
No, because no, because it only works on low caliber bullets, and we know this because he says if someone pulls out
don't use a rifle. Yeah,
duck.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
But also, I'd like to see what else is in that drawer. I've developed a technology that can blow people's brains up by giving them the stink eye, Mr. Wayne.
Yeah, it melts their eyeballs. It's for eyeball man.
There's shark repellent in that drawer for sure.
Here's the bad visa.
Oh man, there is another piece of technology that we see later on that I have serious issues with. Actually, quite a few of them, but one in particular, which I think is in the 5th short. So there are some things that should have gone in this drawer that didn't. But yeah, it's interesting how it's just like there's all these little plot points, and they're just handled with such like, well, yeah, he still had it was his crotch gun that he pulled out. Like, why?
Batman is the one to have a crotch gun first. Before the guy from Dusk Till Dawn or whatever, like to Savini's wiener gun or whatever.
So funny.
I don't mind this one though. I kind of like it. I like the philosophy behind this one quite a bit. I think that it's an interesting idea where like Lucius Fox is a technical and mechanical genius where he could make anything that he wants. For Bruce can just come up with anything, and Lucius can make it. But they have to work together to be able to find the fine balance between like what is morally altruistic and what is going to turn you into kill shot or death stroke.
Death Stranding.
Death Stranding. The guy who has Ghost Baby as his power. He's like,
Mother's
Batman
milk.
or
I must find mother's milk.
So I mean, as we pace our way through this one, it is just him dealing with the upper echelons of crime, right? Where like he's going to these golfing events. I think the first thing that happens is he goes to visit Lucius and he's like, do you mind if I go to the golfing thing instead of you? And like Lucius is like, I wasn't gonna go to that anyway. It's a bunch of people on Epstein's Island. I don't want to fucking deal with that shit. And he's like, I want to go. So he goes to try and like get a finger to the pulse of the white collar crime that's happening in Gotham, and he finds it pretty immediately. I do like that he uses the gadget to make the guy's golf club go flying off into the brush.
Yeah. I mean, and like, Steve, you're bringing up a good point. Like, there's other uses for this gadget, you know, that could be handy. Like, I don't know, use it to knock.
Just like permanently attached to my golf bag. Yeah.
Maybe you don't give him a shot to even shoot the gun, just knock it away. But
I do also like the idea that Batman, like, on his trial run of it, immediately something went wrong, and he's like, no, this is a bunked idea. We're not going to use this. We can come up with something different and better. Like, if there's ever a risk that a bullet is going to ricochet and hit somebody, it hit him in the shoulder, thank God. But if it hit him in the eye or the ear, I mean, ear probably not so bad, but eye, like, he'd be dead. He probably would be dead.
It's the one where it's Batman puts life above all. He'll always he doesn't want to kill.
But I also have
fracture your skull and put you in the hospital forever and cripple your whole family with hospital debt.
Right.
But
you're still alive.
Yeah, but you know Batman would probably break your knees backwards and your elbows backwards and then pay your medical bills as Bruce Wayne anonymously. He would probably do that to make sure your family didn't go to debt. But he probably has a whole team of people being like, why are you paying for this thug's medical bills, Mr. Wayne? It's like, don't worry about it. Dun, dun. He's limping away. He's got like a fucking fresh stitches on his rib cage.
Mr. Wayne, you don't have any brothers or sisters. He's my nephew. Why did you just do that with your voice?
Famous absolute orphan Bruce Wayne, his nephew.
That's the next Batman comic spinoff. It's called Absolute Orphan.
He's like the orphanest guy that they know. Famous for being an orphan.
Orphan.
Yeah, there's probably Bruce Wayne probably has a victims of Batman fund or something.
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever heard it in Batman before, but that would be an interesting one where like you land and you hear a couple of thugs being like, yeah, you hear what happened to Frankie no legs. It's like, well, yeah, I heard he got his legs cut off by the bat and his family went into crippling debt.
Yeah, I heard that too, but Bruce Wayne paid off all his medical bills for some fucking reason.
Oh,
Weird. That's weird.
And also
wasn't he on Epstein's Island?
Yeah, I heard that too. Batman's like, I'm not on Epstein's Island.
Yeah.
I went on the plane once because I wanted intel.
Yeah. Yeah, he extracted someone from there with the parachute or whatever.
Yeah, he was technically on Epstein's.
Yeah, he yanked Stephen Hawking off.
Alfred, activate Skyhook.
Yeah, the Skyhook.
Stephen Hawking's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Is that Batman?
This one also, I think this is actually, I put this at the bottom of my list. It's kind of just short and it's just about how he doesn't like killing. And it's more of a Bruce Wayne story ultimately. And the animation is kind of like modern, what anime looks like.
It's like now. The most anime.
It's almost like what I imagine it is like, you know, every glamour shot of Tuxedo Mask in Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
It's like everybody is drawn that way. Sure. Everybody's a handsome Tuxedo Mask.
Like slow motion, like with the sparkles.
Also, Bruce Wayne and Lucius Fox wink at each other way too much in this.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is so gay.
It's so that they know it's so that they can acknowledge that they're Batman.
Yeah.
Well, I've been fighting to not call Bruce Wayne a twink for this, but I think
He is a twink
He's
in
got
this. In this
twink
episode,
energy
he's
and
absolutely a twink. If he were a gay man, which I assume he is because he keeps winking at everybody.
winking all his boy. All his
He
man
doesn't wink
friends.
at a single lady. It's all
he
men.
puts
he's
the
winking at.
wink in.
Twink.
Yeah.
We all got up at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't really have much more to say about this one either. Like Naveed, pretty much.
Well, why don't we talk about the bat suit? Because I think it's different.
Oh,
than-
yeah.
It's the most
It's
different.
cool.
It's an interesting design. I kind of like it. It reminds me of like something from like Mortal Kombat, the big weird shoulder pad things that are going on. Like I kind of like it. Like I think it's kind of.
It reminds me of
how the
the,
nose goes down is like this one sort. It's almost like a motorcycle helmet.
It's like Shredder almost.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the Iron Suit from Batman versus Superman a little bit, and also that's like the Batman Iron Suit from I think Dark Knight Returns. And is this the one where his mask kind of comes down hooked in front?
Well, you have
like,
the picture of him in the deflector thing.
I have it right here behind.
Yeah, mask
This is the front.
Oh yeah, it's a little red there, but
It
Matt,
also kind of makes me think of Star Wars in a weird way, like the Knights of the Old Republic games, like the armor that the sort of High Republic Jedi would wear. It's cool. Like he's like
it's very different.
Yeah, he's like a mess of blankets, or like his cape is basically doing a lot of the work for his body, and then he's got these weird shoulder pads that are like this cone of defense, and then his helmet is like a motorcycle helmet with these. I don't know. I think it looks cool.
You know Griffith from Berserk, and that's based off of Phantom of the
Opera.
No, that weird movie from the Phantom of the. It's not Phantom of the Opera. Phantom of the Paradise.
I mean, when I'm at the opera, I'm in paradise. So same thing. Yeah.
But it's got the it's kind of got the like an eagle nose or like a beak, which I think is cool.
Yeah.
Not a bat nose though. Imagine they made one with like a big weird,
weird.
like flat bat.
Fruit bat nose.
Yeah. Fruit bat nose,
Batman.
Yeah.
It's me, Fruit
also my
Batman.
nickname. That's when I tried to become the Brampton Batman. That's what they called me.
Yeah.
I didn't do an affectation to my voice when I said I'm the Fruit Batman, but I think we were all.
Yeah.
Well, you have to you have a cool down period after doing that really Asian sounding.
How was it? I went. Da, 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 da. Whoa!
Not again.
Yeah.
You've reactivated the cooldown, Jason. You have to wait another 13 minutes.
What's that instrument? Yeah. That's what your voice sounds like.
I can't do an impression. Yeah, I can't do an impression of the instrument.
You're still on cooldown.
The sitar, not the sitar, but the Japanese sitar.
Yeah, it's like it's like the harp, like a table harp almost.
Yeah. Ding 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 ding.
Oh God,
okay?
Jason, you're really blowing your cooldown to the next level.
Yeah. It's an overdrive.
You're out of potions. You're out of elixirs.
Yeah, I'm just glad you didn't name it something racist.
Yeah.
Batman just busts through and breaks my neck.
You're under
Keeps me
arrest for
alive.
racism.
There's applications to the Gotham City Police Department flying through your letterbox right now.
Oh yeah, I'm in the GCPD now. By the way, guys.
Head profiler Jason Phillips.
Yeah, Bullock pulls one up and he's like,
This guy seems like he knows his shit.
Keeps doing that accent at Thanksgiving dinner.
I'm just reading the sound effects and they sound racist.
Yeah.
This one was directed by Hiroshi Morioka, and this director worked on lots more anime. I'm not going to name any of it, but it's a lot more stuff you've heard. Well, he worked on Dot Hack. I don't know if you guys watched Dot Hack back in the day, but that was a good one.
No, I never did.
And the animation studio for this is called B-Train, B-E-E Train, and I'm curious to see what they worked on, because that's a great name for an animation studio.
I wonder if they did B-movie.
They did Maya the Bee.
It's stealing all the honey. If only we had some sort of Batman to help us.
Yeah.
Oh, they did the Dot Hack series, which tracks because of the way Bruce Wayne looks in this.
Yeah.
He looks like the main character from Dot Hack.
I don't know anything about .hack, so I can't.
Yeah, I got nothing to add here.
That's fair. You guys would have liked it if you were 16.
16 teenage girls, yeah.
I like everything.
Hey there, hi there, ho there, fellas. Someone say fat man.
Whoa.
It would be funny if one of them was just like a big fat man.
Yeah.
Like one of the episodes.
Or a rat man.
Oh,
Rat
my
man.
God.
Anyway, there is a rat man.
I was dating someone once, and like I went on vacation with them and their parents, and their dad
I was thinking of Rat Man as soon as I said it.
I have an idea for a comic book character. He's called Ratman. And I was like, okay. And he's like, and he's just like
He's a
greedy landlord. And I was like, okay. And I drew a picture of him, and then I showed him the picture, and he's like, that seems racist. And I'm like, well, everything you just said was.
Great.
Like,
That's
he
so
just said a
good.
bunch of
Yeah, what
racist
did you
shit.
Rat
So
Man.
I drew what you're saying, and he's like, "Holy
You
shit!"
drew,
I
like,
realized.
I think
World War
about
II
Rat Man.
propaganda by accident.
Yeah.
Not really. I just drew him in the way he described him. I didn't give him any sort of affectation in terms of like what you would imagine. I just gave him a cane, and I gave him money in his hands, and and he had a pompous walk, and I gave him rat teeth because he kept being, and he would have rat teeth. And I drew him. And after I showed the picture to the person that described it, he went, "Oh, that might be racist." And I was like, "Yeah, it might be."
Yeah.
And I closed it, and we never talked about Ratman again until.
Yeah. Well, you and him didn't.
he's still trying to get that.
Yeah.
He's still trying to green light Ratman the motion picture.
Oh man,
That's
where's his
incredible.
anthology?
Yeah. But yeah,
So let's go down to the lab and see what's on the slab. What do we got here?
are we? Do you guys?
I think
wanna
I
talk
like this
about
one.
Where you put it in your?
Well, we didn't
Your
really
six-
get to the end, but I mean, Naveed covered it pretty well, which is like,
Yeah.
I also hate this part. Man is shot in the shoulder and he's bleeding, and Batman treats it like the same way he treats Rachel Dawes in the first movie when she's going crazy from the.
Where is she? Where is she?
No, from
I
when
know
she's.
that's the second one, but
I know, but when she's dying in the car and she's like going crazy from Scarecrow's gas or whatever, and he's like, Rachel! Like it's the same energy for this fucking gangster who's just been shot in the shoulder. Like he's not dying, he's just losing blood. I kind of wish that he was shot in the gut or something, somewhere more.
Somewhere, where you think he might die.
Yeah, but I didn't.
That's what I thought.
There wasn't a single part of me that I was like, this guy's gonna die. I was like,
Yeah,
oh
it
my
was
God,
more
he's
like
injured.
it's like when you hurt your younger brother and you just got to make sure that he doesn't tell your mom.
Yes,
basically.
yeah, it's a really good analogy because like that's exactly what it is. Where you're like, oh my God,
fine.
you're
fine,
doing
you're fine,
doing
you're fine.
everything
Yeah.
to try to make sure that they're okay before your mom comes in and sees them crying. Like,
yeah.
what did
I
you
didn't
do?
I don't have any brothers or sisters, but I got babysat at a older brother and younger brother situation, and they constantly we would murder this kid with wrestling moves, and then have to be like, okay, you can't tell your parents what we did.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah,
we
you
powered
try to
bombed him
convince
into
them
a
that they're not
ditch.
hurt.
Yeah,
This
you're
is a bad
fine.
guy.
You're actually
This is a
fine.
villain.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
and then
was 7.
You 7-year-olds can be villains. So we can also get to the point at the end, which is the gun ding, 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 falls into the sewer or whatever, or like a grate. And then Batman goes down there to find it. And then not only he finds that gun, but he also finds like 100 other guns. And he keeps the more he digs, the more he finds guns.
All the Gotham criminals throwing their guns in the sewer before.
I mean,
they
that's
go
what you
into the
do, right? Like, get
hospital.
rid of your gun. Like all the mafia people that exist there. Yeah.
Well, that doesn't happen in this. That's the
No,
throw
yeah,
line.
not at the end of this one, but it's much. Yeah,
He
it's,
does throw the gun into that
He
sewer
throws
that
the
he
gun
ends up in
Oh,
later.
right. Sorry.
but you're right though, Steve. That comes back. Like that's another through line that comes back in the 5th.
I forgot.
Yeah,
I
and the fifth
completely
one.
forgot about the fight through pain one.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna put this one at 2 for now. This
But yeah, I have to agree with what Steve's saying. That it just didn't work for me at the end, where he was so emotionally invested in saving this kid who was literally just shooting at him.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I think there's probably easier ways. Actually, Batman is a piece of technology, as I I mentioned before.
I thought you were going to say
that
Batman is a piece of shit.
He has a piece of technology that would have come in super handy here. He didn't have to rush him to the hospital. But we'll come back to that, I think, when we get to... I think which is probably what I would gather from most people who watch this anthology, their favorite short, because the story is compelling, is the 5th one. We're not there yet, though. So a lot to look forward to.
Let's keep moving. I'm done with talking about this one. I feel like it's in course of where we are now. It's 2nd, and the one before is 3rd. That's where I'm sitting. That's where
this is actually last for me because I like other ones so much better. But this is like when we did the Animatrix where I like all of these. I'm
not going in with a ranking this time. I'm going to rank as I go as we talk because I feel like sometimes like Alex got me to actually think a little bit more analytically about the one that I was. So I was like, why isn't Mr. Freeze in this? But then I'm like, oh, it makes way more sense in
the context of like the story overall. Cool. Well, we can move on to In Darkness Dwells. In Darkness.
This one's cool too.
I love this one. This is my number 2.
Also, this one is one where it doesn't really have a philosophy.
It's just a Batman story, like an episode of the animated series.
Alex, do you feel confident about describing this one?
No.
No? Okay, I have to go to the washroom, so does someone else want to do it while I do that?
I'll do this one too, but I'll do it in half the length.
Yeah, don't go through every single second of everything. Just give us a...
So, Batman's wearing a cardigan with a drinking with it. Yeah. So this one, In Darkness Dwells. Yeah, this one was the one that didn't really have, I feel like you guys have said, this was more like it's a Batman mission. So there's like people are getting kidnapped. There's some cardinal guy who gets kidnapped, and then they've discovered that he's gone down into the sewers. Batman follows him down there and finds a bunch of evidence about Killer Croc. Gets into a fight with him. Scarecrow ends up being down there too. There's a bunch of crazy fear toxin going around. Batman realizes that Killer Croc's poisonous bite has given him the fear toxin, and then he goes on this mission of subduing and escaping and rescuing the Cardinal in these sort of sewer catacombs.
Yeah.
So it is just a full-on like Batman mission, and him putting all of his skills and his abilities to work to save the day against like kind of what you had said earlier. What we had talked about was, Batman's the guy that we need to fight these like crazy psychopaths. Like regular cops can't fight Killer Croc, and they can't take down Scarecrow. So we need
the only
Batman.
thing that can kill a Killer Croc is killer cops. Did we get through the synopsis or?
We did.
Yeah, that
Zardos approves.
So I also want to say before we get into this episode, I learned that this was written by David S. Goyer, and he of course wrote Dark City and nothing else. Just kidding. He wrote Batman Begins and the Dark
City. Yeah.
That's
we covered Dark City on this. It's the unofficial sequel to The Crow, I think, or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's what we landed on.
No, I thought it was like a Crow script that they couldn't use. We talked about it on the show.
I'm sure we did. Go back and watch our Dark City episode.
Yeah.
So we should maybe do Dark City again because that was also a Before Time episode.
Was that the Before Times?
I've never seen it.
I think it was, yeah. You guys have never heard my Kiefer Sullivan voice from the movie Dark City?
Keith Sullivan?
Kiefer
Sullivan.
You said Sullivan.
I don't know which one I said wrong based on what you're saying.
Both of them wrong.
Keither Sufferer.
Yeah.
Suffer and Succotash.
Sutherland.
There's a lot of funny stuff that was going on in this one. From the jump, it's like they're talking about a bunch of people being abducted. There's like 6 abductions that have happened this week. What? That's a lot of abductions. Don't know why Batman's only just now getting involved. Did he save the other 5? Are they all down there? But then he comes in hanging like an upside down bat, talking to
Doing Spider-Man shit for some reason.
yeah.
But Batman does that too.
Batman does it, yeah. But then
Bats
he
do
gets
that.
he launches into this weird thing, right, where he gives Gordon like his little blockchain walkie-talkie, and he's like, "Take this wireless relay system. It's like a slave to my helmet, and also quantum crypto." It's like we're doing
Well,
like
the slave to my
weird-
helmet thing is just because he was being overly technical about what it was in a computer sense. But that wasn't the part that I thought was funny. He over-explains that it has to go through a series of satellites, and I was like, Gordon should just check
That's
that
right.
because he
Yeah.
might have just been overcompensating.
That's right. And I was like,
But
why
it's lying
are we
full on.
spending? Why is there like so many words for a walkie-talkie right now?
It'd be funny
And I'm
if Ramirez was like, I just connected through Bluetooth to it.
I heard everything.
yeah.
I know that
But then
Bruce Wayne is Batman now.
You should
But
really
then- and
stop
then it, like,
calling
zooms in.
your person in the chair Alfred. We know that he's your brother.
Yeah. It's just so funny, like just this amount of time spent on like zooming in on like this weird earpiece and stuff, and then how they afterwards they spend all this time and how they handle his entry into the sewers, because they show like there's a black hole, he's down there, and then Batman transforms into like some weird like thwippy spider web with like weird future cyber whooshy sound effects, and he just like goes down to the hole. Like I had to go back and watch it again because I'm like, did my brain just go like glitch out and I saw something weird?
Is this altitude sickness?
It's the darkness. It's the darkness. I
It
think
was super bizarre.
You were like 60,000 kilometers in the air.
I think
Yeah.
for me, that is one of those things where it's like the trick of the light to Gordon. We're supposed to be seeing this from Gordon's perspective, not from But like this is another thing where it's like the kids at the beginning of the show, right? Like if I were to make a Batman movie, this is the kind of shit I would do all the time. Anytime somebody is dealing with Batman and you're not with Batman, always be weird shit happening around them. They wouldn't know what they're seeing.
He would spaghettify into the darkness.
Maybe not spaghettify. Yeah, I am spaghetti. I am the night.
Even before he gets Joker or Fear Toxin later, it does have weird perspective things where it's like sometimes fisheye and sometimes like up close.
I wrote a lot of this. I feel like I'm watching Adult Swim or something.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
I actually really like the art style for this one. It reminds me of like Hellboy, and it does remind me of the one from the Matrix where they're the one with the running one where the animation is just bananas weird and crazy. And so I don't mind it because I'm like, this is just an artistic decision. It's not meant to be literal, and like so like I'm watching it being like, ooh, nice, cool. That probably took a lot of time and effort to animate. And I'm not being like, why is he turning into Spider-Man?
What's crazy about that element of it is this is the most like canon episode of the series because it's written by literally David Goyer, right? So this is like part of the Nolanverse harder than the rest of them, in my opinion, because it was
the stuff that
the
Nolan
same.
let him do in the movies. They're like, all right, Goyer, go crazy with your anime.
Okay, you can have Killer Croc. Here you go.
Finally, you get your Killer Croc and Scarecrow.
Poor Killer Croc.
Yeah,
he got. I have a note here. It says, "Imagine your mom flushed you down the toilet, and then your doctor made you crazy, and then Batman just comes into the sewer where you live and stuffs a bomb in your mouth."
Yeah, basically. Yep.
I think it's Croc. Good thing I have my Croc bombs.
Yeah.
There was some funny. I mean, not only that, but I think this short had the best line of dialogue in the entire anthology. And there's some pretty good lines of dialogue. But he's like venturing down into sewers and he comes across like these waste gatherers, and I'm pretty sure it's this one, right? And the guy's like, "Hey Batman, what it look like from up there?"
Yeah.
And he's like, what does he say? It's dirty or something. It's like it looks dirty.
So it's interesting. I just found out that the animator, the director of this was the animator for the Animatrix Beyond. So it explains the weirdness to it.
Yeah.
Also animated by Madhouse. So it's got some crossover there. And Yasuhiro Hayashi.
I think like the moodiness of it and the wetness of everything feels wet, and like the lighting all feels very appropriate. The color grading to everything is like it matches the Nolan. This one feels the most Nolan-versy in terms of visual style, but like it also goes a little crazy at times, which I really appreciate. In animation, like you always should, you must, if you're trying to make it realistic, then it's gonna look janky and odd. But like if you stretch things, do things strangely, it adds to the medium. You're meant to do that. Why just film it then?
Yeah.
It'll take less time and be less expensive. I like when Batman shows up and he shows the screen. He's like, "You seen this guy?"
yeah.
That was pretty good.
And then he walks into that weird catacomb area with the train tracks and all the coffins, and then it's like, well, this place used to be used to transport the dead between graveyards, which I think is cool. And there are still coffins with corpses in them down there. They just were like, no one cares about this guy anyway. You guys want to go get some pizza? But they establish that there's methane in the catacomb, so he puts on his like cool Batman mask. He finally covers over his mouth for once. Yeah, he still get, but it's also the fear toxic because he determines that they're dealing with Jonathan Crane, the Madman Scarecrow, as well. Which is maybe why Gordon saw the Spider-Man cape. Maybe he's getting a little bit of fear toxin all the way up there. He's just got a little microdose, and he's like, I'm very scared right now. I need to get out of here.
I know, like, this is supposed to be like it's a real Batman episode. It's about like confronting, like, your primal fear. You're going down into these things. There's a killer monster out there. You're gonna have to take it on. And then you're tripping on toxin. Like, you have to find a way to get through it, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, I get all these fun moments, and the stakes are high. He's fighting Killer Croc, and then he's got to get the Cardinal out. And at the end, he blows up the pipes blows up the methane that's hanging out, floods the whole thing, and it floats them out. But this is a part right at the end when they're like escaping through this long pipe. There's like that propeller that gets lodged in there and is stuck. And then as they're floating through this pipe, they're approaching this propeller, and Batman's like, dun, 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 dun. And the propeller's just like sitting there. And then it cuts to Batman again. He's like, dun, dun. And then it's just the propeller sitting there. And then he uses like his little, it's like, I didn't understand like the tension buildup in that section.
Like the Austin Powers, like,
It was very, I'm like, is it gonna start spinning again? How? Well, like, what are the physics behind all this?
It dislodged, and then it didn't.
Yeah,
like it gave it a point where it was stuck in that it looked like it was gonna bust out, and then that didn't happen. Yeah,
and then it doesn't happen, and he kind of just like smoothly whooshes past it. But I'm like, why is this the big climactic ending of of this? You had a literal monster that you were fighting. You're like, so there are certain things in the way that
if you were as messed up on toxins as he was, then you would have been terrified.
I was like, he was scared. He didn't know what he was looking at.
Batman was very scared.
But he was scared. But I think again, there was a key line, right, that leads into what I think is, like, in my opinion, was my favorite short. Because there's one part where after he gets bitten by Killer Croc,
I fight through the pain.
He can't see. And he's like, I work. He literally says, I work through the pain, right? I work through pain. And I think that's basically what drives the rest of the episode. He's like, I've got this toxin going on. I got to just keep pushing through. This bite hurts a lot, but
I love that every time he does anything, it shows like a spur.
It's like
it's like his wound is bleeding heavily the entire time that we're watching this whole episode. I do want to give out some shout outs to like the animation of this. Once again, I'm gonna keep talking about it because it's so cool, but like the way they use slow motion in this is like so beautifully done, because working in animation is already very difficult, but anytime you do something in slow motion in animation, it's like you're taking a process that already takes days and days to get a sequence that you love, and then it's like, oh, now we also have to draw it out for you're drawing like 1,000 pictures of just like a person turning their head,
as many frames.
And as far as I could tell, there was not a lot of 3D animation. I think maybe there might have been some background stuff in this, but like everything that you're seeing, like the coffins moving past him with the corpses coming out of them, and then Killer Croc moving through that, like all of that is drawn by human hands, and it's the craft.
Yeah.
The craft is so.
I really liked the moment where those pipes are falling, and he's just watching it all happen, and he's tripping out. Like,
I mean,
that
yeah,
so cool.
And even like Killer Croc when he is tripping out and like Killer Croc's like mouth is opening and it's like splitting around his head and then his head is coming out of it, I'm like, this is all very, very well done. Like I might have to just give this like 10 additional points based on the animation alone.
Yeah, but they spent so much time and that was so beautifully done that I was like, why not live in that moment as hard as you can, or continue to work with that? Like that propeller should have transformed into like some crazy, like, but it never did. So as we're talking about this now, I wonder, was that basically hinting to the fact that the toxin was maybe wearing off by that point, and now he's exiting out and he's feeling better?
I wonder how many times Batman's been fear toxined at this point. He's like,
that's
I have a
what
little bit of an immunity at this point.
I was gonna say, because when he first gets bit, it's almost like when you take drugs and you're like, oh, I'm coming up, and he actually reacts.
Like,
He's
that's fear toxin, all right.
Yeah, he knows how to like maneuver a little bit. Like he has to have been fear toxin.
The toxin must be in his blood. In his blood.
In the Nolan
Saliva,
verse, he was just fear toxined a couple months ago.
He didn't get a heavy dose of it, but it's in his.
He does it every Tuesday night.
Yeah,
it's his favorite drug.
He has a hookah of like put some more in.
Fear.
Put a little bit of Joker's gas in there too, and you mix it together and it makes fentanyl.
Yeah. It's a Joker toxin Scarecrow venom mix.
Yeah.
Also administered by Killer Croc.
His like muscles are going crazy.
Yeah, a little bit of venom in there. Yeah. I also like that we find out that Scarecrow, the reason it kind of goes back to Batman Begins, but the reason why he doesn't want to like help these homeless people is because if they're scared, he can just indoctrinate them. He can just turn them into like this crazy like death cult. And also, isn't his style in this, like the way he's drawn, a little bit the animated series? It's a little tall hat and the but he's got like this cool mask and almost like armor.
The animated series, he went through like several different versions, but this is sort of like it's like an in between of a couple different versions. Like the recording I did at the beginning, where I was like, it's like he does have like a full sack over his head, right? Which is like, that's why I thought it was funny. But like in this, they take that concept and have his mouth open, but he's wearing the hat. Like he's more or less dressed like what you would assume the Scarecrow from like the Wizard of Oz would be dressed like. And that's kind of what his original design was a scary Wizard of Oz Scarecrow.
He also wants to turn these homeless people into his experiments as well. And I think it is, to go back to us talking about Croc, it is so sad that he was flushed down the toilet and then found by Crane, who made him afraid of bats, specifically because he knew this freak would have to probably go up against Batman.
Yeah.
It's also funny that like, and by funny I mean tragic, when they're like, and you know what his number one fear is? Get this. Bats. And you're like, holy heck.
What are the chances?
I thought it would be the dentist.
What are the odds? Also, when Batman blows up the fucking pipe system, Jason's favorite image of all the pipes coming down, all those homeless people are crushed and killed. He's killing so many people.
Right. Yeah.
After Batman
feels like a boss fight.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Doesn't it feel? It feels like the beginning of like a boss fight or something.
Yeah,
you gotta like jump down the pipe.
You beat the shit out of Scarecrow, and then he's like, "You haven't fought me in my secondary fear gas form."
Yeah.
And then he turns into Pipe Man.
Fear pipe. And then he smokes
fear pipe.
Some reggae starts playing.
Yeah. Well, you're still on cooldown.
Oh.
It's a pipe
no reggae.
At this point,
not yet.
Not yet.
Oh man. Anyway, he gets the Cardinal and they get over there. But Batman has been injured. And Batman sees the methane gas, like somehow just sees it pooling at the top and blows their way out. That's when the debris and stuff falls in the pipes, and Scarecrow is just washed away. That's how all villains in Batman get away. They're just like, I'll get you next time, Batman.
Also, Batman completes his mission of saving a priest.
For like, great.
A religious figure.
Did you look at this guy's dossier? Because he might have wanted to just leave him down there.
Yeah,
I do like that it ends with him running off the.
Yeah, and then slow motion.
I haven't mentioned the music for most of them yet, but I think the music at this one fucking rules because it's almost like it's a perfect amalgamation of the music from the Christopher Nolan movies and the Tim Burton movies.
Yeah.
Like it's like they found like the perfect middle ground between them.
Yeah,
Hans Elfman.
I can't believe I didn't think of that. That's so fucking funny. That's such an easy, funny joke. Hans Elfman. Ren, den, ring.
I didn't want to interrupt you, but I wanted to say it so bad before you reached it. It felt inevitable.
I'm glad because I don't know if I would have got there on my own. Oh, that's funny.
But yeah, Gordon tries to be like, get on the helicopter with us, Batman. He's like, maybe next time.
Yeah, I think this one, it really was the one that kind of like squared up with like the Nolan realism and sort of like that gritty darkness.
But it is the most supernatural like of all of these.
Yeah,
like
it also is the one that
some of the least grounded at times.
I think it's the only one where you get proper Batman villains that like you want to see. When you watch something like this, you want to see the Batman rogues.
Where's
Batman
Mr. Freeze?
Yeah, where's the
screaming? Where's Mr. Freeze in his TV the whole time?
Like, I keep pausing it and being like, Freeze! No!
You're Mr. Freeze when you pause it.
Yeah.
You're very blue right now.
Mm-hmm.
He did that.
Yeah, I feel like this one had good moments when they were driving the action. Like the fight with Killer Croc was awesome. And then his showdown with Scarecrow was really good too. Like the motivation of the villains was what like they were given motivation, which is also convincing in the way it's like, well, why are you guys just bad? Oh, there's reasons why you're bad, or like why you're doing the things you're doing. So it was fun to watch. This one was satisfying in like, I want to watch Batman going on a Batman adventure.
Bad venture.
Bat venture. Yeah. So it scratched that itch. It definitely sat higher than the previous one for me.
I agree. I think the animation in this one is maybe the best. For me, watching this one, I'm like, this is an achievement of animation in every capacity. I don't know if it's the best in terms of like the storytelling, because it's not really giving me nourishment in terms of like philosophy or theology. It's just cool, yeah. But I mean, there are elements going on where like I'm like, oh, I understand what's happening here when it's like, this is what Batman needs to do, and this is what Batman is, and this is what's happening within the city, and there's like a larger scope, but it feels like it's a sliver of a larger story. Like it doesn't feel like it's getting all of its shit across in a way that you're like, now that's a good Batman short. You're like, that is a segment of a larger Batman story that I would like to have seen the whole thing of.
Yeah.
But also that there's parts that I love, there's parts that I dislike, and then there's the animation and the music, which I'm like, both of those things paired made me feel great. I love when he like cuts the pipe in half and he's like, and Scarecrow's like, holy fuck, what am I doing?
That was
I shouldn't have decided to fight Batman. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's just fucking cool. I love the fact that it looks like a Mike Mignola drawing, like a Hellboy drawing, like where they have like the deep blacks and like the interesting character design where everything is very cartoonish, but at the same time like the proportions are correct while also being interesting. Like it doesn't look boring. Nothing about it looks boring the entire time. I like when he's like scanning and he's like, there's like a million little dots on the wall and they like go into his vision and he's like, this one is all of these chemicals, and he's like, god damn it, it's Killer Croc. Like he just looks at like a bunch of fingerprints and shit and like spatter on the wall and knows exactly who it is. Like that's cool. Anyway, I think this one's up there too for me. I think this is my number 2 now.
Did you like the animation, Steve?
I'm gonna say the animation in this one, number 1. Music, number 1. But overall, number 2 so far. Nothing's beat the first one yet.
I tried to make myself look like Mr. Freeze for you, but I just look like a Force ghost.
Yeah. Can I draw you like my Mr. Freeze girls?
Oh man.
All right, shall we move on? Does anyone else have anything to say?
No, I mean, yeah, it was wicked. It looked wicked. Yeah, I think you covered it well.
Thanks.
I don't know why I'm doing
Is this
the
one
lost.
is this one written by Damon Lindelof?
Yeah,
Did you guys watch that first episode of Lanterns? It's pretty good.
I haven't seen it
Pretty
yet.
good.
No, I didn't watch it.
It's
I heard
pretty good.
it's bad from internet, but I don't believe internet about superheroes.
You heard
I
it's
heard it
bad
was
from
good.
internet?
I heard it was good from internet.
Well, there you
I
go.
bet I would like it.
Yeah,
I watched
I
it.
can't do
and I
that.
think
It's got a
good.
lantern on it. I
You know
actually
what I
trust you, Steve.
You know what I said at the end of the first episode? I was like, now that's how you start a fucking series. That is fucking cool.
And
I am
they don't have any.
intrigued.
They want to. This is a show with no clear. Like they don't have like an ending for it. It's just going to be a show. If it does well, it'll just keep going. That's what I heard about it.
Okay.
Not like with the Marvel shows. They're
It's
like
been
we're
a
doing one
while where I've
season. And,
watched a show and the ending of the first episode maybe be like, I can't wait to see what happens because I actually was pretty excited. Green Lantern also is like a thing that I love. Not as much as Batman, but I love.
Yeah.
Green Lantern's cool, man.
I think Green Lantern is something that I like when I'm seeing it, and I am otherwise
You forget it exists. You're like, oh
Like-
yeah, Green Lantern.
flagrantly uninterested. Like conceptually, Green Lantern sucks, but in practice, it is cool.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
yeah, that's true.
It sounds boring. If you don't know it, like if you explain Green Lantern is not very attractive.
Yeah,
Green
I mean,
Lantern is the
space
opposite of
cops,
most
yeah.
political theory, is what you're saying. Get it? Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Oh, that's a funny thing about the haunting that we talked about last week, and I feel like that's where the meme of him saying "wow" came from because he says it like "wow" so many times. Owen Wilson. He says it like 6 times in that movie. He goes "wow" like 6
So
times.
much wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, the next one, of course, is working through pain, and this is pain exemplified.
Whoa.
Whoa. Look at him
Oh.
working.
Look at the pain coming out of his.
He's shooting pain right out of his eyes.
Yeah.
Fucking Cyclops.
I like a pain blast.
It's like some sort of Biclops.
Yeah. So I'll do a quick synopsis of this. It's essentially after the events of In Darkness Dwells, Batman is trying to escape, injured, messed up. He's been Batmaning a lot lately with the events of Batman Begins and then into all the things we've just discussed. But while this is all happening, he's remembering how he went to where was it that he went to? Was it India?
India. Yeah.
And he learned Bashura, which is the art of basically blocking out pain. And he has this sort of training session with this woman who had gone through it, pretended to be a boy, ended up getting found out and called a witch. And this is still happening to her daily in her town where she lives. But ultimately, Batman, she gets harassed. Batman jumps in as Bruce Wayne to beat up these guys. She says, you basically learned nothing because you weren't supposed to. Weak men always end up giving up. And your time here is done, so go home. And then Batman finds a bunch of guns.
That's pretty good. Pretty good.
I
What do
really
you think,
That's
Dourdan?
to show he's back in America.
I think
Yeah.
that
Zardos approves.
Jesus. Why is he in only my house?
That's where he lives.
Oh shit. He lives inside me. This one kind of rules. Like
This one's great. Yeah.
This one is maybe the heaviest in terms of like a philosophy of Batman that we're aware of being subverted in a way that is interesting.
This also reminds me of Batman Begins as well, where they keep flashing back to him with Ra's al Ghul learning like his ninja stuff.
Yeah. The difference though is that he's in a fever dream of I'm about to die, and he's like he's remembering the exact thing that brought him to this experience, right? Like, Batman Begins is a movie, and they're telling it out of sequence because it's cool and a cool way to reveal a story to you. This is like him utilizing his memory to stop himself from passing out and dying in a sewer, which is so fucking cool. Have you guys ever played like the Hitman video games?
Yeah.
There's one called Hitman Contracts, and the whole concept is him like dying, and he's like operating on himself the whole time, and while he's doing it, he's remembering. He's remembering all the, like, every level is him remembering a contract where he almost
imagine you were like trying to stitch yourself back together and you just reminisce about killing people.
You reminisce about farming XP.
Yeah. It's like you're like trying. You're like, I just gotta make it. It's like I gotta think of a happy memory, and then you're like, you have hooked a car battery up to some guy's nipples, and threw him in a puddle, and it electrocuted somebody else. And you're like, oh yeah.
I remember that time when I set up that perfect trap where I pushed him into the printing press, and I said, "They'll print anything these days."
Yeah, exactly.
It's great.
Yeah, I mean, what I really liked about this was, Steve, you're kind of talking about like the philosophy, right? It's called working through the pain, but it's really about like the difference between managing pain versus healing, right? And like the whole thing is premised on the fact that Bruce Wayne has this deep emotional trauma. He goes out to learn how to conquer physical pain and overcome it, but in the end, what he really needs to be focusing on is conquering his emotional pain. And then I think her line is basically like, you have to leave. And then she apologizes. Cassandra's like, I'm sorry, I failed you in dealing with your pain, because your pain is actually leading you down the path that you desire, right? He's trying to find a way to avenge the death of his parents. And so he doesn't want to deal with that emotional trauma because it drives him towards the path of vengeance, right? As the Dark Knight. And so I think that's what made this, for me, it worked really well in terms of the storytelling, because it's talking about why Bruce Wayne can never truly find peace. Like that's why he wears the Batman suit and the mask, right? It's basically covering up the fact that he can't figure out how to like actually live with his reality, and the trauma that he's endured. So I think from that perspective, this one like really hit the spot with the storytelling, where the rest of them were kind of lacking. I feel like they kind of rushed through the story in some parts, or things didn't really add up. There's weird loopholes. I feel like this one didn't have those. It was paced really well. It was talking about his journey step by step. And then he had this like sage mentor who in the end apologizes to him. You know, it's like Bruce Wayne will never learn. Like,
yeah,
which is
Bruce, you're broken.
Yeah,
and
been
I
trying
don't
to
got
fix
bigger
you for
problems
years.
than the physical pain
Yeah.
you suffer in the situation you've been through in this last couple of weeks.
yeah.
You're
I do
messed
Yeah, and
up.
we don't want him to learn, right? It's like,
yeah.
if he learns how to conquer his emotional trauma, then the Batman goes away, right?
Yeah.
And it's like,
For sure.
at least the way that we imagine him. Maybe he comes back as like Batman 2.0, and he's even way better at making
Birdman.
bat decisions. But I like
the
that.
light, and only the light.
Yeah.
I am the light.
Yeah, but I like the hubris component of, like, you know, again, I like, if I was gonna synopsize it, it's like a white man goes on a spirit quest in India, right, and like appropriates ancient practice to fight
That's his
baddies.
tradition.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
Let's see if these guys can
Hey there,
withstand
Mr.
pain.
Jambo.
Yeah.
Like that Kyle Gordon song that he
He
just
goes
did.
there
I
to
don't know if you-
specifically to learn a skill, but he only
Yeah.
learns like 80% of the skill, and he's like, "I got this," and they're like, "No, you forgot all the other things that are important." No, I got it. I'll be. And she's like, "Oh God,
Oh
fuck.
man! But
You
it's
just punched
that-
a man in his gut so hard he puked in midair."
It's the theme of Batman being as sick as the people that he fights, and it's really shown here in both elements of it. Him getting the wrong lesson from learning the Bashura, but also in the modern day where he's like fighting his way out, he's just fighting against like all odds to just survive because he's a psychopath and needs to be Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like.
So
that
in-
like, sorry, go ahead.
There's the second best line for me in this one. The first one was, "What it look like up there? It's dirty." The second best one, and this one like really. So I was working through these. I was having a hard time being convinced with every short, and even halfway into this short. But when he says to her, like she's talking to him about how to manage pain, and she's like walking on coals at that point, and she's standing there, and he asks her, "Does it scar?" And she says to him, "Bruce, what pain doesn't?" I was like, okay, like I'm in now, 100%. I'm committed to seeing how this goes. This is
You're like, give that
finally
man the
leading me down
$10,000. This
Yeah.
contest is over.
holy crap. Yeah, what pain doesn't? And I'm like, he's got some deep scars, Brucey.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is definitely, this one feels the most complete. Like it's a complete story.
Yeah.
And it feels like it could have been more easily stretched than some of the other ones.
This could be a full movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this
Yeah.
was basically, it feels, and it felt a lot like Batman Begins.
It does.
Right.
But I like the idea that like Batman, not only did he go get his Ra's Ghul training, but he also got this strange training from a different country, and like maybe he went through different other trainings as well. But I like the idea that he maybe got like 85% trained on all of them and never really fully got 100% on
Well, we
it.
got to see the Lazarus Pit training later in his career, and I always like the idea of seeing Batman go through these weird trainings, and I do like that idea that he is still Bruce Wayne in a lot of ways, and the Bruce Wayne he portrays is this like it just doesn't uses this billions and billions of dollars to just force his
Just
way.
go treat other people's cultures like it's Dagobah.
Yeah. So I think Luke did this in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Can I
yeah,
do it
yeah.
in a week and
Exactly,
a half. I'm sorry, Master Wayne, but
What if I build a gadget that makes me just better at this? Then
I do
why can't I
also
use a
like-
gadget for this?
I think the structuring and the way the storytelling is built around like the flashbacks to him being in pain are like lined up with what he's learning is really well done as well. Like it's clearly quite thought out. Like when he's stabbing the finger into the wound, I think I yelled out like, "Yeah, get your finger in there, Bruce."
And then it was
It cauterizes it.
Yeah,
the way that it opens is just way too sexual. Like he's like, rips his thing, and then he's like, super weird. But here's the thing that I was like, if I didn't continue to get to that one line that Cassandra throws at him, I might not have finished, because this is where the technology piece kind of threw me off. So he's bleeding from this wound, and then he like reaches into his bat belt, pulls out a little tiny capsule, does some weird like boop boop, and then it expands into a disc, which he then shoves onto this wound to cauterize it.
Yeah.
He could have also just used like a piece of gauze and tape, maybe.
No, he has to bat cauterize it.
But also, why didn't he use this cauterizing disc on Anton instead of rushing him like a madman to the hospital? Too many weird questions about.
He only has one.
Because then the bullet is stuck inside him.
So okay, you have like the ability to turn a tiny pebble into a flat disc that gets super hot on one side. You don't think you could like make another sort of thing that stops the bleeding in a less painful way? But
So
anyways,
imagine he fell awkwardly, and then he's like, and then all of his pills expanded, and he's like, "Oh God, my ass!" Like he just.
But I mean, I know the point of it was like it's supposed to be like it's pain, right? And then it flashes him to
him operate. Well, this is the point that I was trying to get to, which we kind of leaned away from, was that as soon as he does that, it goes to him watching a person being operated on, without any kind of anesthesia, and like the guy is in maybe the most pain you'll ever see somebody while you're digging around in their guts for like one bullet, and they're just like, ah! and the doctor's like, hold his legs, like strap his legs down. He's like, I'm trying to strap his legs down, but I can't. I like that sort of like pacing of how the story goes, where it's like he is having to do the thing that he saw happen, and he has to be able to control his own body to be able to do the same thing that he once had to help a person do. Like that's
right. Yeah. I agree. Pacing was very good in those like crossover sections.
Yeah. I got stitches in my finger without anesthesia.
And did the nurses be like, hold his legs down? And then there's the guy who's like,
I'm trying. You have to work through the pain.
I just thought about when I was back in India learning. They froze my finger, and then they took too long to do it. Like they came back like an hour later, and it had thawed. And then they're like, no, and they're like the doctors. He's like, sorry, man. He's like, you can't freeze it again. I guess like. For whatever reason, you can't just keep doing it over and over.
Was your doctor Mr. Freeze?
No.
Freeze, actually.
And then he did the stitches, and then he finished them. And then this was when the Raptors were in the playoffs, and he stitched my hand up, took a call, and he's like, hey, are you good? I'm like, yeah. He's like, okay, I got Raptors tickets. And then he left.
I like to imagine that he came in and he's like, hello, Alex Gow. I learned from my pain. Do you? We cannot freeze it for a second time. I'm sorry.
I worked through the pain. It was actually not that bad.
Are you good, Alex Gow? Yes, good. I have Raptors tickets.
This is the one where the reason why he's in India in the first place is because he's at he's helping.
It's a mission. He's on like a
relief mission.
And he went there with the specific intent to go to a war zone because he wanted to help people who are being injured horribly. And the doctor says like, well, did you know that you're going to be doing this kind of shit? And he was like, I knew it was going to be bad. And he's like, do you know it was going to be this bad? And he's like, absolutely not. I didn't know I was going to having to be like help people with like their amputations and shit. Like it's pretty like brutal too. Like people getting their legs and arms.
Like it shows surgery in this one.
No, there's a lot of like honesty in the portrayal of the scenarios, and the sort of the proud, like the ego of Bruce Wayne is not present, where he's able to be honest and be like, oh no, this is like way more than I expected. But also in the way that the visually, the use of dialogue and driving the story on like a deep psychological and emotional level, then coupling it with like really smart cuts. Like one that really stood out was when Cassandra's telling Bruce the story about, they kicked her out when they discovered that she was pretending to be a boy. They called her a witch, and they cast her out of the village, or they chased her out. And so they're basically like attacking her every day. And Bruce says, well, why didn't you just leave? And then she says, well, because that village in India is where she belongs. And then she asks him, she's like, isn't there such a place for you, Bruce?
Right.
And then it cuts to Batman laying a pile of garbage. It's like, like it's really so powerful in the way like those messages are being drawn, and we get it immediately. Like that, there's so many things that worked so well with the story and the way that things were illustrated here. Minus the question about why there was so much blood on the walls after Bruce beat up those people, even though he just was kind of like disarming and punching them in the face. But that was just like a funny moment. So I mean, I think that there's like as far as this one goes, it really hit high on like semi origin story, but not pulling us out completely of a reality that's existing, that like what is he working through, but tying this memory he has of this journey that he went on directly back to his present day. I don't think that's like an easy thing to pull off when you're writing a story, and so I think that's why this one succeeded so well.
Well, there's something to be said about any piece of narrative with Batman where you have a Batman part and a Bruce Wayne part, and you're much more enthusiastic about the Bruce Wayne part.
Yeah.
I think even just that takeaway is in itself a review of that segment where you're like, yeah, the Batman stuff that like the Batman stuff tied in nicely to the Bruce Wayne thing.
Yeah.
Which is something that is almost impossible. Like even the best Bruce Wayne stuff, a lot of the time you're like, okay, let's get back to Batman. It's like,
yeah, you'd almost say that like even the Batman stuff, you're very, very heavily aware that is Bruce Wayne in there. Like it doesn't feel like Batman. It feels like Bruce
Wayne
pulling himself
in
back
his costume. Yeah, you're right.
No, you're right. What you said got me there, Alex.
Well, yeah, but yeah, for sure. But it's like it's the most compelling Bruce Wayne.
I think you're
like
absolutely
even more
right.
than a lot of like entire movies are able to achieve.
I think 100. There's not a single other moment in this entire movie that makes you have the realization that like Batman is Bruce Wayne, but Bruce Wayne is Batman, and they are the same person. And we're getting a lot of Bruce here. This is Bruce, and it's such a good representation of it. Even when he's watching the snake kill the ferret or whatever.
Right.
Oh God, yeah. This mongoose, yeah.
Yeah, I think that this does the same thing that the Nolan verse movies do, where it's a lot of Bruce, like a lot of Bruce mythos, and like you know, in Dark Knight Rises, where him and Catwoman are like wearing masks, and he's like,
yeah.
When I'm Bruce Wayne, I feel like I'm wearing a mask.
It's one thing that's like a really hard thing for them to achieve properly, which I think is what the Nolan movies do so well. Is like you're always quite aware that that's Bruce in there, like Bruce and Batman are the same person, and like. There isn't really a separation between the two of them. You can see when he's pretending to be Bruce and when he's actually Bruce and when he's actually Batman. And this does the same thing. And it's well done, man.
Christian Bale also does a very good Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
I love it when in the Nolan verse Bruce Wayne has to turn on the Bruce Wayne and go extra hard.
Yeah, he has to go American Psycho with it almost.
Like a complete piece of shit. It's so good.
I think my favorite part about that same thing is that like when he's doing the Bruce and then like you see a flicker of Batman and then he has to flicker back to where like it's just within his eyes or his acting or like
I was gonna say that I think Christian Bale is the best of that at that, but then now I'm thinking that maybe he's the only one who even was capable of that.
Or tried it. Like he's the only one who ever tried it.
It's like they just kind of just like I'm Bruce Wayne. Like Bruce Wayne is still talking like Batman.
Yeah.
And he's the only one who kind of turns on like the Gatsby.
Even like
I think Clooney was a pretty good Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, he was, but
his Batman was Bruce Wayne. It was like still doing the like.
It was a bit
my bad credit card, or like it's all the same shit. Like I think that Ben Affleck tried, but I don't think that he did it. Like they didn't give him
enough time to breathe.
Well, he didn't have enough time as Bruce Wayne is the main thing, but like his Bruce Wayne was like, I'm drunk, I'm pretending to be drunk, or you know, like I'm being a shitbag, like
he's just being Ben Affleck.
It's true. My Bruce Wayne is Ben Affleck, and my Batman is deeper Ben Affleck.
Yeah. But Christian Bale definitely, and Christian Bale does three characters because it's like all the other Batmans are kind of Batman or Bruce Wayne, and he's Batman, Bruce Wayne, and then Bruce Wayne. Like Gotham's Bruce Wayne.
Yeah,
but
I think it's.
But yeah, the last short, it's very good Bruce Wayne.
I agree. I mean, should we talk about the the training is mostly meditation and sticking needles in your hands and stuff, and like it's quite like physically kind of disturbing, but like
I do like that when she was able to train him to the point that when he does fight those guys at the end, they break a board over his head and it like busts open, but he's just like unfazed.
Yeah,
which is kind of what Batman is like as a fighter.
I mean, when he's fighting normal people, yeah. If he's fighting a killer croc, then it's a little different. But he can fight through the pain when he's like, how dare you?
Right.
But
I
killer
can
croc
fight through the human pain.
Yeah. But when I get my whole left arm frozen by a freeze ray, it's a little different.
Yeah.
No, I appreciated that they had the intensity of their training visualized, but the focus was still on the conversation that the two of them are having about working through the pain, right? I think that was really good. I'm glad that it was just like, whoa, that's a lot of needles in her hand, and then but they never actually said that, like they didn't have to.
No, yeah, she just I think that the coolest aspect is this is one aspect of his Batman training, right? Like this is one piece of what makes him Batman, right? Like we saw his ninja training when it comes to the Batman Begins stuff, where it's like, you must be the shadow, you must be the night, you must be a fear in people's hearts, which is like a very important aspect of Batman. But also this is something that like you don't see very often, which is like you have to be able to sit in discomfort for a long period of time without ever feeling that pain and being able to ignore it, or at least know that it's there and accept that it's there and process that it's there, but not ever let it affect anything else about you, which is like, it's cool. And I would love to see more, like you were saying, like the appropriation of Batman around the globe.
But all his training is cool because we as an audience deserve an explanation as to how come
he's able to do it all.
How come just a guy can do all this, right?
We want to see the Indiana Jones map of him going to like around the globe. Like he learned how to take a hit in the schnoz in this country, Ireland,
Mongolia.
How to keep your shit together, like where he just gets really drunk and is able to still maintain being Bruce Wayne.
Learns the drunken master training
and not tell everyone he's Batman as soon as he gets too liquored up.
Hey guys, you know what? This is awesome. He pulls his mask out of his pocket.
It's all wrinkly and like half folded. The nose.
He puts it on inside out.
One of the
ears are just like kind of like tucked into the
all right, so that's what he learned in Ireland.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
We're not diminishing the importance of this episode. We're just saying.
Before we move on, though, this one was directed by Yasuhiro Aoki, who worked on a lot of the Berserk stuff, like a couple of the other directors in this. He also, Alex, you'll recognize this. He wrote the video game Lunar, Silver Star Story, and its sequel.
Wicked.
Oh,
yeah. Or maybe you also know that, Naveed. I don't know about your video game background.
No, that's pretty great. I did not know that.
Yeah. And a bunch of other stuff that it's like there's so much anime that I like when I don't know what it is. It's
you don't know if you're supposed to know it either.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like okay, you said Dot Hack. I'm like, I never saw it, but I know it that it exists. And
it affected me at one point in my life.
Yeah, but then some people will say stuff, and you're like, okay, I'm like, am I supposed to know? Like, like you're supposed to know Dragon Ball. You're supposed to know Attack on Titan, at least of them. You know what I mean? But it's like some of them people say shit, and I'm like, I don't know. Did you just make that up?
I have like
Batman.
Hey, the director of Brand New Day is apparently directing the Naruto live action, and there's a theory from one person that I saw on TikTok who thinks that he's trying to some of the stuff in Brand New Day was like testing storylines and elements for the Naruto movie, and I think a Naruto movie will be sick.
So she's
another one.
Theories.
My theory is Zendaya is going to play Naruto.
Yeah.
My theory is that the Naruto
Sorry, Naveed. I just thought that was going to be too funny if I did it. So I had to do it.
That was incredible.
It was perfectly timed, man. That was amazing. I don't even need to finish saying it. I think that hit on the head.
There you go.
Everybody,
I think that's probably true. That theory.
Okay.
I love seeing those. That was fun making those.
Yeah. Alex Gell made all of those. If you don't know, now you know.
With the little TV, all the ones with the little TV.
Amazing. So good. So good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, also Madhouse Animation for that one as well. Through all of these, they worked on all three of the movies so far this month. Next week is like finally a live action anthology. But before we get to all of that, we've covered Working Through Pain. Before we get out of here, do you guys want to talk about your sort of final thought on it? Because for me, this is my number 4 out of it all, and I give it a 4 out of 5. I'll talk about that more in my final thoughts. But where does this sit for you guys?
This one is... Go ahead, Naveed. Yeah.
For me, this was my favorite short out of all of them. I think it did so many things well. Storyline, the way they tied it together, as Alex was saying so eloquently, it's like the story of Bruce Wayne and then the story of Batman running parallel to each other, but out of time, and just finding ways to connect them using dialogue between characters rather than literal action sequences to drive plot. I thought was so beautifully done. And then the hilarity of it all ending with him holding a giant pile of guns and Alfred his hand and being like, "Take my hand," and then Batman just being like, I can't. It's like, okay.
I don't think that was supposed to be funny.
No, because it's not, right? Because what it illustrates is like he's just holding all this pain in his arms, right? And he's still, and in that moment, Alfred is saying, like, "I'm here. Like, you're not alone. I'm here with you." And he can't reach out. He can't reach out to him because he hasn't figured out how to deal with the trauma. Like, it was just...
And as Batman, it's always something. Yeah. There's always something next, too.
There's always something with Batman.
Yeah. So for me, it was just... I thought it was just so well done. And I'm a sucker for stories. So for this Bruce Wayne arc, it was excellent.
Naveed, number 1. That's pretty cool. I like this one a lot too. But I think out of all of them we've done so far, that's a pretty admirable choice because I think Alex said it's like the most complete in terms of like an actual beginning to end story and understanding the grasp and context of everything that's there. It's not just giving you a vague understanding of Bruce Wayne doesn't like guns. This is like Bruce Wayne fights through everything and he became Batman and he can barely carry an armful of guns without it being a representation of his pain. And as Naveed said, hilarious.
It's just so funny, right? Like this image of Batman. Like I wish we could have an image of that Batman just like holding guns. Like there's just something that was so comedic about it, and like it's one of those like, you know, when something is so sad that you just have to laugh because the emotion is so overwhelming. Like that's where this drove me to the end of like that image of him holding these guns, and I was just like, this is crazy. Like it's just like it's so crazy how powerful that image is and how he's like digging through this pile of trash, like trying to find all these pieces of pain that he has to collect. Like it was just it's so good. They knew what they were doing with this one. They really did.
I agree. For me,
more man than bat.
More man than bat, yeah. I think I moved this one to number 2 as well. My number 2 has just been sliding down the entire time, but it's the one is still at the top. But Yeah, this is my number 2. I think I love a guy getting punched in the gut so hard that he flies through the air and vomits at the same time. That's really good.
Yeah.
But also everything else about it, the context of like, we've seen Batman be Batman before, but we're now seeing a different aspect of Batman. I really like that, and I would like to see other versions of that in this medium, because you get it in Batman Begins, and you get it through comics and everywhere. But Batman didn't learn everything from the ninjas in the mountains. He learned things from other places as well. How to never feel pain from a witch. A witch. I mean, she's not a witch, but she kind of is. Like, she knows how to just be able to take as much pain as possible and never flinch. Like, that is a witch. That is we would call that a witch, I think.
Yeah, I like this one a lot for sure. I like that it's a good explanation, and it's cool to see Batman struggle through pain as Batman and think about why he can, and not just because he's Batman. Like, it's not just like, okay, Batman takes a beating and he gets up and you're like, okay, that's what happens because you're watching a Batman movie. But it's like, no, like, this is where that came from.
Yeah, you can watch a guy get hit in the head with a 2x4.
Yeah, and it's not just because it's not. It's kind of diluting a bit of the rule of cool for Batman and making it a little less hand wavy about being able to withstand what he does.
Yeah,
which
he's not just a human in a bat costume. He actually is a person that
put
went
in the
around
work
and learned how to withstand every piece of pain that he could ever take.
It's about how much you can get hit. Yeah.
That's where he goes to like Boston. He's like, all right, bats, it's about how many hits you can take before the bell rings.
Yeah.
Batman Bruce Wayne running up the steps of Philadelphia.
Yeah. What I'll say about this, I don't know if this is my favorite one, but I think that it's the best one. If that's fair to say.
Yep. No, every single anthology movie we've done, somebody has said something like that, where I'm like, it's maybe not my favorite, but I understand that it might be the best one. Like,
yeah.
Jason,
that's a little bit how I feel about the next one, but I wanted to also say that Bruce Timm was an executive producer on this, so all of it does feel a bit like episodes of the animated series a lot of times, especially with the people who worked on the animation department. But this one, when I was watching it, I was kind of bored, but it's a thinker. It's one that stuck with me more than the rest of them because of the juxtaposition of Batman, fighting his way through the grime and the dirt and the sewer and the grossness, and then finding just those guns and then obsessing over, like, he finds one gun, and I'm pretty sure it's meant to be that one gun that he actually tossed into there, and then finding so many guns that like you said, Naveed, represents the pain of the city of Gotham, but also at the same time he's working through his own pain the whole time. I think is a beautiful story. And like you said, Alex, I think it is the most complete story of all of them. The rest of them feel like, I would say, though, that In Darkness Dwells is like an episode. It does feel very complete in that it is an episode of Batman. But this is like a slice of Batman's life that we get to really focus on. So, yeah. This one is number 4 out of them for me, but it is like Alex said. No, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
No, I just like that you call it a slice of Batman's like hold his legs down, like a real slice of life of Batman.
It's what Bruce Wayne's been going through. Bruce Wayne's been, his parents die, and then from that moment on, every day is a nightmare.
Yeah.
Before that, he was just a rich kid who, I guess, according to Gotham, was already starting to like solve crimes or whatever.
Yeah.
The crime of passion. Okay, so let's move on. Yeah.
To the next one? We're moving on to
the last one.
I have my list here. Oh, yeah. I have my list here. I don't know if you guys can see this. Oh, shit.
No, we cannot. There it is.
So I just wrote the titles, and then this one I just drew a picture of a sniper rifle. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alex, do you want to?
Oh no, the toxin had me bad by this one. Yeah, I could not synopsize even. Yeah, I got bit by Killer Croc, and by the time this one rolled around, I was well enthralled with the toxins.
I mean, this one's pretty straightforward.
This one's very Batman.
Yeah, this one felt the most like an episode of the Batman animated series to me out of all of them. It also, the art style for it felt like it was just ripped from the pages of a comic. Like they animate it in the sense of the sensibilities of an anime, but like the drawings of the characters feel like they're from a Batman comic book.
I was sure that it was animated by the same animator as JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but I would find out that it's not, but instead was the animator of Vampire Hunter D. So that's why it's got those. I think also it's the world record people, because it also kind of has that. It's not as exaggerated as the world record, like the runner one from Animatrix, but it still has those like thick lines,
the deep blacks and stuff. Yeah.
It's Madhouse. Madhouse as well.
Okay.
Madhouse. Yeah.
It's happening again. We have to synopsize or I'm going to die.
Right,
Batman fights Deadshot.
Yeah.
Zardos approved.
Oh, that's all I had to say.
I didn't know it was going to be that easy.
Yeah. If you were looking for that brief, I would have said Batman appears.
Zardos approved.
Yeah, he looks so Batman here, though. This is like, I feel like this one is the last one, so it can be like, all right, you didn't like all the other directions that we tried to take Batman in. Here's the Batman that we guarantee you wanted, at least in some capacity.
Yeah. And I also think
maybe because it's the final one in the series of shorts, and that all the through lines tie up here, and it's basically Batman executing all the things we've just seen him like learning and practicing and developing in the previous shorts. So I think that's why, Alex, I agree with you. There's like a real satisfaction to seeing like an almost complete Batman. You know, it's like
it's the culmination of all the because each like that's the thing. It's like you have the myth of Batman, the power of Batman, the gadget of Batman, the Bruce Wayne socialite of Batman, the Bruce Wayne training of Batman, and then you finally get all these pieces together.
Yeah,
and then he's just like doing one-armed push-ups, being like, I love a good gun. Look at that thing.
Yeah,
pretty much.
You could just put it in your mouth, Alfred. Look.
Look, isn't this funny?
Yeah. No, I mean, you're right. There was some
Wayne, I've
really,
told you I don't like it when you do that. Oh, okay.
Weird lines when he's like, guns hold within them the power of God. I'm like, this guy needs to get a room with a gun.
Isn't that also what Batman does?
Yeah.
Holds within the power of God or whatever.
Power of God.
Alfred, do you know what Batman's favorite amendment is?
Yeah.
Although Batman in the 1950s used a gun when he was just a detective with a cowl.
All right.
Yeah,
and they're like, he doesn't kill, so why would he use a gun? I'm like, we'll give him a batarang instead, I guess. And he'll never kill the Joker.
I made a gunnerang. It's like
a bat gun.
Yeah. It's the bat gun. It just has like 2 ears on it. Like,
yeah.
It's the
the bullets coming out.
It's just him shooting his villains.
Shooting the villains, and it's like, and it'll be like bang, and then it shows a guy like dead on the ground.
Penguin.
Blam! Like getting like
Poison Ivy's got brain all over the wall.
Pow! His knee goes out. Ah!
Oh my god.
Kablamo! He's shooting a rocket launcher.
Yeah, Two-Face's
Riddler.
head is just split
Yeah,
right open.
Riddler's just
Yeah,
exploded.
bisected. There it is.
Bisected, yeah. Oh my god. He's got Killer Croc mounted on his wall. Holy fuck. Oh
Wow.
my god.
Batman says, "I would never
So,
use one." But
Steve,
even
I want to know. I want to know why sniper rifle. Were you just so hot for Deadshot like me?
Well, I mean, I just started drawing it, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna just draw the sniper rifle." But yes,
I thought Deadshot was a lot of fun as a villain. That
Well, look at
required
the
little to
characterizations
no-
of Deadshot.
Yeah.
Traditionally, he's like a guy who's just like hyper militant. In Suicide Squad, he's Will Smith. In the Snyderverse later on, he in Justice League, in that he's Joe Mangione or whatever. Is that that?
no, that's
Right. No.
that's Deathstroke. But yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. That's the same universe. But I'll tell you right now, because even I can appreciate the attraction of a gun, the heft, the sleekness, the cool steel, the precision, and the power. The power to change the world and history. The power of God. That's what he says.
I'm
That's what
hard
he
as
says.
a bat right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Alfred's like,
That
okay,
right there,
so
he
should I
became-
dump the guns in the dumpster?
Yeah.
I keep tripping over your bag of guns you keep leaving everywhere.
He
for
became
some reason.
Eagle Man.
Yeah. Becomes peacemaker.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
I feel like
Yes.
if this animatrix was around for the modern DCU, Peacemaker would be in these.
So, I mean, it opens with Bruce Wayne doing one-arm push-ups, talking about how much he wants to fuck a gun. And then Alfred comes in and he's like, Master Wayne, what do you
Horrified.
want me to get? What do you want me to do with these guns? And he's like, I don't know, just leave them around the house like an Easter egg hunt, and it'll be really and
It'll be
then
really cool.
leave for a couple hours.
Yeah.
But then it cuts to, as Bruce Wayne is talking about how sexy a gun is, it cuts to a man putting together like a crazy gun. And then he's on like a huge Ferris wheel, like the one in London or whatever. And he's like, and he takes a shot from across the whole city. Seemingly. Yeah. And it goes through the window. He also shoots it just as fireworks go off, like when he's like, and shoots, and
Perfect.
like it goes across, it hits through the window, hits through a wine glass, like, and then goes into a guy's head, and he goes down.
Yeah.
Amazing
such
scream.
a fun sequence. Yeah.
It reminds me of like the Hitman games again. Like this is like a Hitman shot.
Or like Sniper Elite.
Yeah.
With the waiting for the time, the firework kind of thing.
Not even a silenced sniper rifle either, which is great. He just timed it with the fireworks to be like, no one will know. I assume
But he deafens the person in the next.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Ferris wheel thing over. Everybody's deaf now.
He also kisses his gun before he puts it to bed. He's like, love my gun. and Bruce is doing the same thing. The paper bag full of guns. Like,
yeah. Oh, I just looked it up. Charlton Heston directed this episode.
oh yeah. That's why the quote at the end is, "You can pry it from my cold dead hand." We then meet Deadshot, right? That's his name, Deadshot, at a I don't know. He's at like a beachside or like a dockside restaurant or whatever. It's where like a bunch of boats are. I assume he got into a boat and was like, well, I got to go get paid from my employer.
Yeah.
And the
Who
guy
is the Russian?
Yeah, it's the Russian. He's chastising him for using too many fancy techniques, like shooting the stem of a wine glass. And he's like, "Gotta have fun sometimes, pal." Like, I could have shot that guy 10 times, but I wanted it to go through the stem of a wine glass because it's cool.
Yeah, he got his achievement.
Yeah, exactly, for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of this episode is just like masturbatorily like showing us how good Deadshot is at shot shooting people dead.
Yeah.
But also, he
And
seems to
succeed.
have the bullseye thing where he's just like an incredible sharpshooter with any weapon at all, because he does the thing with the fly or the bee.
Yeah, he
or
kills
whatever
Jerry
with it.
Seinfeld with a knife. A tiny drink stirring knife.
Whoa! What's the deal?
But the crux of this is that we learn that the real target is obviously the person who we've been watching and rooting for this entire movie, the Batman. We need to kill the Batman, but we don't know that in this meeting. It's revealed to us, or does he say in this meeting? I can't remember.
No, it's like you have to go back to Gotham, and he's kind of like, well, there's one thing
It's
there
sort
that
of
I've never
vague
been
about
able
it,
to
yeah.
take down. Yeah.
Because there's like a
Yeah,
weird part in the middle where it's very anime, where he's like, exactly as my plan happened. If I shot him, then the Batman would come to me. And I'm like, oh my God, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
We figured it out, movie. You don't have to
There's something with Deadshot and Batman where like Deadshot was one of Batman's first villains or something. Like I feel like or there's they have some history that I'm not 100% sure of. But I know that they go back.
Yeah, he tries to shoot people a lot, and Batman stops him from shooting them. So goes back years and years.
Yeah.
Classic rogues gallery villain. I try to shoot him, he stops me, punches me out, throws me in Arkham. I'm not even crazy.
I get washed away down in the
not even
sewers.
crazy.
I'll get you next time, Batman.
I'm literally doing it for money.
Yeah.
I'm not insane.
Yeah, I'm just a really good hitman.
Yeah.
I'm not even a metahuman. I trained for this.
Yeah.
Imagine being Deadshot and like just being really good at shooting people, and then getting thrown to Arkham, and then like you're next to the Mad Hatter, and the Mad Hatter's like, Alice wants to know exactly why you're in here, and he's like,
The Riddler keeps doing dumb riddles to him, and the Joker keeps eating his
Tweedledee
sandwich.
and Tweedledum don't think that's true. It's like
The Joker makes him eat a shit
asshole.
sandwich.
Yeah. Or you're in a cell with Killer Croc because you shot somebody with a sniper rifle.
Killer Croc's like, I'm not crazy either. I'm just a crocodile man, I swear. And I really
My
like
mom
eating
flushed me
humans."
down the toilet, and now I'm in an insane asylum.
I just
And I
need
hate
therapy.
bats.
Yeah.
Don't you hate bats?
Kill shots like
You can call me Killer.
you can kill me, killer. You can kill me, Croc. Killer, Croc. Killer, Croc.
He's insane.
He's insane.
Yeah.
Hugo Strange is just electrocuting his brain every day for some reason.
Oh,
Yeah.
well,
I don't know what else to say about it.
I mean,
Yeah, I think
Well,
it
the
was
rest
good.
of the stuff that
it's a
happens.
good it's a good climax to everything in a way that it kind of ties together like the mental and the physical
it also has
aspects
all
of
the
Bruce
characters
Wayne
from
and Batman together.
the side characters they reappear in this one
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
It was fun. There was action. All the pieces of a Batman showdown with a villain. Yeah, I think it was all there.
They fixed the satellite. The satellite goes back up, and now Alfred can watch Bruce travel around, and he's got his man in the seat in Alfred now. Also Gordon
my
is
guy
Gordon is
Jason
being
loves
targeted.
this satellite, dude.
Yeah, Jason has not stopped talking about this satellite since the beginning.
I've been following the satellite the whole
If
time.
Jason was a superhero, we call him Satellite Man.
Yeah.
I just watch you from a window.
Yeah, he's orbiting your house, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But Commissioner Gordon is being targeted first. That's what who the hit is on. And
no, the hit is on Batman, but Deadshot.
Yeah, that's the ruse. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. But I like that they're transporting Commissioner Gordon, and they're like, "We really think you should wear a helmet. This car is not fully bulletproof."
And he's like, "I
He's
can't
"Whatever,
see
I'm gonna
with this
look
damn
at
helmet on."
and find out all the information and help out my friend Bruce Wayne, Batman. They're like, "Wait, what?"
He's like, "Me and Bruce Man have been friends for a long time." Like, you say Bruce Man? No, I didn't say that. You said that.
I said,
"Where's my
Batman."
helmet?" He puts it back on. He puts the muzzle on. Like, oh, fuck.
But yeah, the big moment in this is that Deadshot is such a egomaniac that he has to shoot. He has to take out Gordon from a train through a train.
Commissioner Gorgon.
Yeah.
That is That's going into Gotham Radio.
Just so Commissioner Gorgon.
Yeah, Commissioner Gorgon.
And Batman flies next to a train, which is pretty sick. Another train is coming the other way.
Something tells me Jason didn't watch this episode very closely.
I did. You guys wanted to skip.
This is when you were singing Weird Al to your child while you were watching Batman.
Hey,
I have to go to the washroom again. I'll be right back. Continue. Ow, my toe.
I thought that he was trying to take the shot on Gordon, and it was to lure Batman out. So yeah, I'm on track.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
And Batman causes him to miss the shot, which is like, you don't make me miss. And then they have a classic man with a gun versus a bat freak fight on top of a train, which is pretty dope. And he manages to hit Batman. But then Batman gets the upper hand and takes him out by like using his cape to like be bigger than he needs to.
Yeah. Be cool.
And it was the Russians all along. Oh, we knew that. That's what I wrote down.
Right.
And the day is saved, or is it? Because he walks out and looks out the window and there's a bat signal.
Yeah.
And nothing is resolved. And Batman's another day because there's two more movies in this universe after this.
Right. You have a deeper purpose, Master Wayne.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you know, in a completionary sense, it's a bit on the nose.
Yeah.
With Alfred telling him you have a deeper purpose, and then it's zooming in on the bat signal in the sky, but also like a satisfying way to close it all off, like these symbols that exist that we associate with Batman not being subtle at all with them. I'm like, yeah, we just watched like some super sniper guy try to kill Batman.
Yeah.
Of course. Now we have to stare at the bat symbol.
Yeah. I think it's a great culmination of all the other parts, but then I think that in being so complete with it all, it definitely takes the least risk of any of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a very safe ending. It was good, but it was good in a way that was like, oh, of course it was good. It's everything you want from Batman, which doesn't sound like a bad thing, but it didn't challenge me like a lot of the other ones did.
It almost felt like to me an animation test for like, let's make this into a Batman show or like make this into a Batman movie or something, right? Like where they took everything else that was happening in the movie and then they made this sort of very spectacular classic version of Gotham. Like everything is, like you say, Alex, safe. Like everything that you know about Gotham, nothing new here, nothing new at all. The characters' designs look like they're pulled right out of an actual comic book from the early 2000s or late 90s. Nothing new there. The context, the dialogue, the story, everything feels like it's pulled out of stuff that we've already seen. They're not doing anything new, which is like we all I think agree is fine because it's like, oh, this is the Batman we know and love. But
yeah.
We've also seen so many other things throughout this entirety of this anthology that has made us like think in different ways and twisted things into weird sort of like analysis of what Batman can be and what we think he is. And this is just Batman. This is the Batman that we know.
Yeah.
Was that the goal? I don't know, but like if so, then I guess fulfilled, but at the same time,
yeah, it's very well rounded, but it makes it feel smooth in that regard. Whereas every other part at least challenges under a microscope an aspect of what Batman is,
or lets you sort of look in a different direction of what Batman is.
For sure.
Which I guess is the same thing that you
but
said.
But it like cranks the intensity of each aspect, right?
Yeah.
And even in ways that I don't think any of us necessarily 100% absorbed watching on our own, but in talking about it, have seen it through the eyes of each other as well, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think the only thing in this that was weird to me or like felt different is how big that fucking chunky ass Game Boy that they throw at them to be like, track it all day. Like, why is it so big? Like,
well, it's a PDA from 2008. It's a PDA from 2008, so it makes sense.
I had a nice phone in 2008.
No, you.
Yeah, I guess I had an iPhone like 3 or whatever.
I had a buttonless iPhone at that point.
Yeah.
No, you didn't. Not 2008.
The iPhone was out. The iPhone 3 was out at that
The
point.
3 was out. Yeah.
Maybe I
But
had the
you have
big,
buttons.
like the big thumb button at the bottom, but I didn't have any other buttons.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all I'm saying is this thing is this is a 1989 Game Boy that they're throwing.
Oh,
at
yeah,
me.
no.
Batman could have sleeker technology.
Yeah. But I mean that was a PDA that was from the second short or the third one, when they're at the golf tournament for the homeless.
Oh right.
Right? Yeah. So they had it this whole time, and then they used they
Naveed is
reviewed
smarter than us and understands.
blog.
He can look past the animation styles to realize these things are.
There are through lines that actually were you tying all these things together like quite well. I thought that was interesting because it's like, why do we care about this thing from the golf tournament? Because somebody was murdered, and then then they figure out the hit's on Gordon, but it's not really. But still chonky.
Yeah, it is a Batman movie, but it's sliced up too much that it feels like it's not.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I really like Gordon's attitude in this. I think that he's I think he's a fun Gordon. He's still a lieutenant. He hasn't gone to commissioner at this point.
He gets commissioner in Dark Knight, right?
Yes, yeah. And it's because the other commissioner gets blown up.
By the Joker.
He's
Or no, he drinks poison whiskey or something, I think is what
Yeah,
happens. Yeah. I haven't watched The Dark Knight in a long time.
It was.
Hey, have you seen this one? Should never do it because everybody
Everybody has seen
my
it.
mom has seen that movie more than
Yeah,
me, but yeah, what happens after this is that he gets into the carcade, and they're driving down the highway, and I love this so much because this again feels like a Hitman thing where it's like he's on a train. There's a bunch of trains and he's like, okie dokie. And then as the train goes by, he's like, and he knows where the car is going to be at the exact moment. And he's like set it all up perfectly. And he's about to take the shot. And Batman slices a bullet midair. That is some anti-dead shot energy.
Yeah.
How else could you
What
stop?
if one of those halves of a bullet went and killed somebody? Would he have to get rid of that technology too?
Yeah.
Jason, the answer is yes. And that is a
Theories.
But he would never cauterize it with his pill.
Theories. Zardos approves.
Okay. So then Batman follows him on a train, and they fight on the train.
I already talked about all that.
Oh, sorry. Did we?
Yeah, remember when you went to the washroom for the 100th time? Yeah.
I went 2 times.
100 times.
Well, both times we talked about the train.
Yeah, both times.
We both clicked it at the same time.
That's just a theory, a piss theory.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
That's when they said the name of the movie in the movie.
I don't know why you.
Did they ever say Gotham Knight?
Yeah.
No, I just
say
was trying to
Batman?
be different. I was trying to be funny and different.
Yeah,
Does
you were
Zardos
funny and
approve of that?
No.
No. Let's move on.
I
So
thought there was a Zardos disapproves.
no, I always lied about that. Because I was like, I wanted to put the fear into people that there was one, but there is not one.
Whoa.
There is this though.
Gotham Radio.
Okay. Don't just derail the show to play another 4-minute Gotham Radio. Unless you're going to play all of them, and then
and then we'll be here for a while.
Yeah,
A
because
lot.
there's 16 parts.
Have you ever wondered why Gotham's so full of garbage? Well, thanks to Killer Croc, killer holes in the ground. They just kick garbage into holes and he eats them.
And guns.
Garbage.
Lots of guns.
Well, I think that's the movie. I think now we can go on to our Home Alone, our final thoughts, and our ratings.
Before we do you guys think that Deadshot got really injured because Batman punched him so hard that he flew to another car as the train is moving forward, and his head still indented into the thing? Did you guys talk about this already?
Listen, let's just it's very binary with Batman. I was gonna say, is he still alive? If yes, then it's totally fine, and there's nothing wrong with it. And if he's dead, then that's the worst thing that could happen.
Zardos approves.
Okay.
Because we know Batman doesn't care if someone is grievously injured as long as they survive.
Yeah, and if somebody dies and he didn't cause it, he's also fine.
I feel like Batman also knows like how much damage he can do to somebody before it causes like detrimental brain damage or something.
And he goes just over.
Yeah, almost surgically.
At one point in this last episode, he's holding him off the edge. And he's like, please don't fucking kill me. And then he raises him up slightly to get half his helmet ripped off. Like, and he's like, yeah, I know exactly the millimeter that it will kill you and won't kill you.
Yeah.
Which is, pretty cool. Batman's pretty cool. He knows how to do math. Morbid math is what he calls it.
More math.
I did some morbid
What
math.
country did he go to learn that?
I don't know. Morbid math? China, probably.
I'm not going to weigh in on that. I'm still on cooldown.
There's a bunch of Chinese guys and on a train and they're all holding people off a train and they're all like pulling them up and people are getting their heads ripped off and Bruce is like
Steve on cooldown.
I mean, I'm just saying morbid math would probably be China. No?
Zardos?
Why did I ask? Oh my god. Wow.
Where else would it be?
Well, I'd like to introduce the new hosts of this show, Alex Gow and
Naveed Khan.
Yeah. The two are still allowed to appear on the show after this.
Yeah, maybe we should bleep that, Jason. Just a long bleep, like a really long bleep.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
All right, should we go into our final thoughts or Home Alone of it all in our ratings?
Sure.
Jesus Christ.
My Home Alone of it
Isn't
all.
that bad?
I'd like to pick one. What do you think the Home Alone?
When is the Home Alone of it all?
Can someone please tell me when the Home Alone?
I really gotta know.
When is the Home Alone of it all?
When is the Home Alone of it all?
Now that's the Home Alone of it all.
Could have said Israel.
No.
Hey,
Oh,
arriving,
okay.
late
Israel's
arriving,
horrible
happy
math is also
to
morbid.
have made it. Thanks, Tim. And for the Home Alone of it all. This is the segment where we talk about our Home Alone of it all, which is, of course, the idea that in the movie Home Alone, the part of the movie we're there to see is when Kevin McAllister slaps down the blueprint. Could be your favorite part of the movie. It could be the part of the movie that hit you the hardest. It's going to be a little weird for this one. It might end up just being your favorite short. In addition to that, your final thoughts on sort of the movie at large and a rating. For mine, I'm going to tell you the order that I rate like the movies. So if you want to do that as well, that's fine. So basically, Naveed, if you want to go first, and I know I just bombarded you with information, but if you want to sort of...
No, for sure. I mean, I think, for me, the Home Alone of it all really is the stitching together of Bruce Wayne and Batman. And the journey is not about saving Gotham from all like the bad guys. The journey is about how can how can Batman be the vehicle that helps carry Bruce Wayne's pain and trauma, but action it in a way that brings him one step closer to dealing with the loss that he's suffered in his life. And I think that the way that each one of these shorts kind of brings together specific aspects of Batman as we've come to know him that help to piece that picture and that puzzle together is what made this anthology, after you've watched it and sat and thought about it and talked about it with, you know, 3 of your friends, it really starts to make it feel complete in that sense. So I think that for me, like, that's in many ways the takeaway, that Bruce Wayne is nothing without Batman. Batman is nothing without Bruce Wayne. It's like, where does one begin and where does one end? He's reached a point now where he's not able to exist. One is not able to exist without the other. So yeah, I think I enjoyed it. And my favorite short, I think I already mentioned, was the second to last one, Working Through Pain. I think that it did really, really well. And I think there's an aspect that we know we really love when it comes to Batman. It's the story. We love the action. Yeah, we get it. But there's a reason why the Nolan films were so good. It's because they were driven so heavily by story. And the action was a part of the process of building through that narrative. So I think that's really where Batman shines. It's when the story is compelling and brings the humanity of his struggle before the cool gadgetry and the super ninja moves. So I enjoyed being able to go back in time and watch this anthology movie from 2008, because I feel like if it was made today, it would be very different.
Absolutely, man.
Tough act to follow.
Yeah, also thank you, Naveed. You're obviously welcome back anytime, and I hope that you're able to not. You've got to be the person who's the furthest away from, hey, did you see this one, home base, to be on the show, being in Dubai. That's wild.
Yeah.
You're a day
Well,
away.
it was a great way to spend 4 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. with you guys.
Awesome.
So
Well, come back. Come back
very
soon.
happy to be. I mean, it'll be much easier when I'm back in the same time zone, but
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. We're having fun.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. Thank you so much. How about you, Alex?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if mine's going to be as elegant, but but part of your whole your finale here influenced me heavily. But I think my Home Alone of it all is still probably from the first anthology part, when Batman jumps through the window, because it's like, really, it's about the people of Gotham, and it's about, these kids talking almost tall tales about Batman, and then he shows up, and I think in that moment I was happy to see Batman deliver on the tall tale that those kids told. And that kind of is what Batman is, right? Like, Batman is, as a character, Batman is something you can realistically come up with yourself as a kid. You could tell a story about what Batman could do, and then he would do it. You know what I mean? And I think that felt very Batman to what Batman is to me, I guess, is living up to what other people see in him in a positive way, and not in like always in the like the henchmen talking about Batman. It's about the people that like Batman and what they see in him. And it's obviously when he first shows up for real in the whole thing, so that kind of is a Home Alone-ish. And I think my favorite is the second to last one now. I think you converted me fully. I was kind of between that and the first one, but I think while the first one is cool and does a lot of fun stuff, it's you're right. It's not the one I was thinking of when I was trying to sleep in the middle of the night thinking I got to stop thinking about Batman, but I wasn't thinking about Batman. I was thinking about Bruce Wayne. So yeah, if I give it a rating, I never think of a rating when I watch it, and I always should. I'm trying to think of one now, but it's I don't know. I'm gonna give it 4 batarangs out of 5 for sure.
Finally, we have a Batman sound.
I'm sorry. During Naveed's, I was like frantically making that. Being like, why didn't I think of this before? Yeah. Like I should have done this before. I'm sorry you didn't get one, Naveed, but I'm gonna play another one right now for Naveed.
That's great. Thank you, Alex. Of course, you're welcome back here. We'll find another movie where somebody gets bisected for you to come back on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How about you, Steven?
Yeah, I am sad that we couldn't get bisexual with this one, but we will.
Well, Batman cut that guy's head off.
That's true.
That is a bisection to a degree, I guess.
Yeah.
Also, I'm pretty sure someone cut a sandwich in half at one point. I was like, that's a bisection.
That's a bisection.
For me, this movie is great. A kid that did grow up on Batman, the animated series, and sort of holds that really, really high in terms of expectations and impression, something that told me what Batman is, not just because my dad told me Batman was cool and other people told me Batman was cool around me, and not just because the 1989 Batman was cool, but this was my Batman, the thing that I experienced almost entirely alone, solo. Like my parents didn't watch this show with me. My sister watched this with me. And like, I still to this day can turn to my sister and be like, I learned from my mistakes, Batman. Do you? And my sister will be like, like she'll laugh at that because that's a thing that we know from watching the show. And so watching this, seeing animated Batman again, after not really seeing it for a long time outside of, the Justice League show where it's all about Superman and Green Lantern and like everyone. This is isolated. It's its own thing. It's just Batman. It was very special to me when I watched it, and I was almost an adult at this point. I was still very much a kid, but at the same time, I was like able to enjoy these things on a level that I don't know if I could enjoy this now at my old age now. Like if this was to come out, I'd be like, I don't give a fuck. But like, like having Kevin Conroy be the voice throughout, like it really sort of connected a bunch of important tethers from one thing to another. And seeing it again now for this show, like it even just the discussions that we've had between the three of us or the four of us, it made me understand like some of the stuff that like I was maybe sort of dismissive as a kid watching this, like the second one, Alex, you changed my mind on like why that's good. I'm like, oh yeah, it is way better that these are human beings fighting Batman and not a super frozen man.
I don't want to step in on your thing, but I don't want to forget to say this, but what you just said made me think. I've been on this show, like on this podcast a lot of times, like probably close to the most. Mm-hmm. And I've never had so much change in what I thought about a movie.
Yeah.
Like I guess like I've never been so challenged by the discussion.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
you know what I mean?
It helps that we all had such differing opinions about each one, but also the fact that it's an anthology, there are so many different opinions flying around that it can be easy to switch. Because sometimes you'll like one so much that the next one seems like shit, but then you think about it a little bit more and you're like, wait a minute, this one actually maybe rules better.
But in the best way, I think anything that we took away that we didn't have is an improvement. Like you like that one more. I like the
I will say
second
that
to
I don't
last
think
one more.
I don't think that I like anything less than I did before. You know, like I
Yeah,
think
that's what I mean. Like every single thing, like I feel like everybody championed one in a way that the other,
except the last
rest
one. I think we all agree
Well,
the
yeah,
last
yeah.
one is just like
But-
whatever. But like I think we also all agree that the last one looks really cool and we like
Yeah,
it.
this-
Like,
this
it
is
is good. It's good as
Yeah,
well. So for me, it's tough to pick a Home Alone of it all, but I mean, I'm going to stick to my guns and say the first one is absolutely the best one. And you could have just replayed the first one at the end again, and I would have been happy. Like I wouldn't have been like, get me out of the theater. I'd be like, no, I'll watch this again. You know, if they had just like tacked on or like put another short at the end that is like all of them seeing Batman or something, like that would have been cool. But I mean, that kind of fucks with the chemistry of the first one. But the first one is so good. The second one is also good. The third one is fine. Like it's you just go through them all and you're like they're all good. All of them are good. And as a person who has been sort of a defender of Batman Forever, and no matter what, Batman Forever is a good movie. But like I will say that like I've never really watched a Batman project that is this long that I've been like, this is terrible, and I don't think I ever will. That's how much I like Batman. It's like similar to Star Wars or whatever, right? Where like I can find the good even in the bad of Star Wars, good even in the bad of Batman. So I am going to land on the first one as my Home Alone of it all, just because I think it's such a really good introduction to not only like making an anthology story the beginning of an anthology story is like that's an insane decision, but also but also the art style and the attitude of the kids and the idea of like people seeing Batman for what he is in their own brain. It's so do I have to pick a worst one? I can't remember what we're doing. Are we no
like whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
I don't think I have a worst one, but I will say that like all of them are great. I think my favorite one by far in terms of animation is the Killer Croc Scarecrow episode. It's so beautiful to look at. And overall, I think that, you know, story to story to story, they all have a unique sort of interesting idea of a Batman story. Even the ones that we all agree are kind of like, meh. I kind of like. I like the one where he's playing golf and he makes the guy throw his golf club into the bushes. Like that's fun. I like that shit. And then if I had to give it a rating, though, man, I would give it a big old killer cock bite to the shoulder panels, and you know, the more you let the cock juice in, the more the better the show becomes. You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
I've always said that.
You know what I'm saying? All right. Oh. I knew I was going to say killer cock. I was trying not to say it, and because I was thinking about it too hard, I said it.
Yeah.
And then he said it, but then he waylaid it into something about cock juice. So here we are.
Yep. I know.
It was good. I appreciated it. Yeah. My Home Alone of it all this week is I didn't remember this having a through line story, and I was that's what I ended up focusing on, being like, oh, where do these all connect? I followed that satellite right from the beginning to the end.
Did
but
you
there
know
were
that
lots
Gotham
of little...
Radio is going to satellite? It's going to be on satellite soon.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'll play the role of the satellite.
Yeah.
Hello, I am
Hello.
the satellite. I have
Hello,
a
it's
Halifax
me.
accent for some reason.
Yeah.
This satellite is tracking your car.
Okay.
Your car has been removed from the car park.
I'm going to drive my car.
Your car is
I'm
gone.
from Ontario. But that was my Home Alone of it all. My favorite sketch. Did it again. My favorite sketch. My favorite short was Do I Have a Story for You? My least favorite was
I
Field
bet
Test.
Joker calls these sketches. He's like, look at these sketches.
Yeah.
These are great.
But I will say that my second favorite was In Darkness Dwells, because of it being like a really kind of dark Batman story. Finding out that it was written by the same writer of the Batman movies that this is supposed to take place in bumped it up for me. And I actually had Deadshot at third because I like a Batman story. Okay. Then it goes Working Through Pain, Crossfire, and Field Test last. But that's not to say that I didn't kind of appreciate them all at the same time. I do think that the elements of Batman that they work through are unlike even things we really see in the Nolan verse, because the people that go to those movies want to see a lot of Batman. And I think that there's lots of Bruce Wayne and lots of inner struggle, but I think this thing stands as the secret fourth movie in that quadrilogy, where you get a lot more of the Bruce Wayne and the mythos and some more of like the insight into who this version of Bruce Wayne is. Bruce Wayne in the Nolan verse has an endless fight that he is too broken down to complete by the end of it all. Like in Dark Knight Rises, he goes through so much of that, and that's kind of the story of him like being a broken down old Batman. But this adds the insight as to why he is so beaten up in that first bit where he's like in his mansion, he's been a recluse and he's all messed up before he even gets his back broken, and that's because of all these things have happened to him in addition to dealing with the Joker and Two-Face. So just great overall. I think it was a fantastic ride. Another Home Alone I was talking to you guys about it, very similar to our conversation about the Animatrix, how it enhanced all of those. So thanks for the good conversation. If I was to give it a rating, I give it a solid 4 out of 5. And if I was to give it a rating, I give it taking Fear Gas and just rewatching all of these.
I could have taken any Batman soundtrack, and I just went for the Mr. Doodle-doo. Like we all have to leave after.
That's the best one you could have taken.
Okay.
That's the only one that I even would be like, oh, that's for sure Batman, I think. I wish you know what? All this makes me wish I saw this at the correct time.
Yeah.
I wish I saw this when I was supposed to see it in context with the Nolan movies.
I still can't.
I feel like it would have added a lot.
Series. That blows.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Also, the thing about the animated series, you can watch it as an adult and it's still good.
Yeah.
It's still pretty goddamn good.
I watched this after The Dark Knight, but it still works if this all happened to him after The Dark Knight as well.
Yeah.
But I see more ties to the Batman Begins now that we've discussed it. I just haven't seen Batman Begins in a while. But
this made me want to watch Batman.
Yeah, just watch all Batmans. Batman rules, dudes. Let's plug our things.
All right, let me just plug this in right here and...
That was Electroid. That was Electroid.
Yeah.
From
Johnny Electroid.
Yeah, Johnny Electroid.
Naveed, do you have anything you want to plug?
I want to plug getting a full night's rest. I think sleeping is an important part of existence. So, sleep. And sleep like your life depends on it.
Yeah. When your body catches up, you're going to be you're coming back in like soon, right? To Canada?
Yeah, I'm back in 3 days.
You're never going to recover.
No, I'm in a wacky time zone. I'm hanging out with you guys. I feel like I'm on fear toxin right now.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, there you go. That's good.
Awesome. Well, like I said, thank you for taking the time. You're crazy far away, and it's a crazy hour, but I appreciate you.
Totally. Wouldn't have missed it for anything.
Awesome. And we'll talk to you again soon, I hope. Alex, do you have anything you want to plug?
Yeah, just watch my other episodes of this podcast. It's part of my ongoing effort to create a self-perpetuating feedback loop that makes this show reliant on my occasional appearance.
Yep, it's you.
Alex is
relying
creating
on
an
your
online
occasion.
persona without having to do anything. He's like,
Yeah,
come on,
yeah,
once in
yeah.
a while, and one
Yeah.
day I'll be famous.
You
Yeah,
barely have an online
Yeah.
presence, and you've been on the show 1,000 times.
I know.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you to
this
you
this
and
thing.
your-
This is basically like my social media. This is the only place that I talk to other people online. It's just on this podcast.
Also, Alex is a very talented photographer, by the way. Just so
Oh,
everyone on the
thank
internet
you.
knows.
It's true.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah,
My
I mean,
My profile picture on a lot of
on-
my
yeah, is
my
that
social
one I
medias
took
is
of
a
you.
picture Alex took of me. So
yeah.
he's very
There we
good.
go.
Yep, I was at that same party, and you didn't take any pictures of me, so I guess I'm not a
That's
I got a
because
good one of our wives, at least.
okay.
Yeah,
That's-
Alex
that-
and
Alex-
Jason are in a polyamorous relationship with their wives together.
Our wives. We don't know if I'm the father or if Alex is the
Oh,
father of my
God.
son.
I know who it is. It's me. No, I'm
It's
just kidding.
Steven.
Whoa.
It's crazy.
I'm the bat. I am the knight. I am vengeance.
Okay. Can you give us some vengeance and tell us your
Yeah,
your plots, your plugs?
yes. So I am always going to pitch the Sonar Network, where I'm currently working as a audio engineer, and I'm doing a lot of cool stuff. Have you guys seen or heard of Stanland? I worked on that. I also am a voice in that, and it's all over the place. And there's a bunch of like, cool celebrities in it, and we're doing a new one. It's called The Return of Snowtop, and we've been recording voices for weeks and weeks and weeks, and next week we're recording the main voice, a celebrity of whom I cannot mention until it's done. Then maybe I can.
It's Bruce Wayne.
It's Bruce Wayne. He's going to be like, all right, hello, what do I talk into this thing, or all right, what do I do? I'm a return of a snow top. What does that even mean? But yeah, we're recording that. We've got a bunch of cool celebrity, because we did all of our like normie voices for months, and now we're finally getting to like me and Jason are normie voices. We're both in it, but yeah, I'm pretty excited. I think by next week I might be able to actually sort of disclose with more information, but we'll find out. And then also I do YouTube channels. I do Darth Theorist, the Three-Eyed Theorist, and the Half-Blood Theorist, where I am the voice. I'm the narrator. I do all the character voices for most of those channels. We hired a guy for our Half-Blood Theorist channel to do the character voices there. He's doing a very excellent job, but I'm still all the voices on everything else. We also hired Val for the female voices for Game of Thrones, and she's doing a very good job as well. Hopefully soon I won't have to do any character voices, even though I like doing it and I'm pretty good at it, right? But yeah, I think
You don't even have a real voice anymore. You just
I know.
speak in different characters.
You're like Robin Williams.
Don't say that.
I don't know which voice is your real voice.
I have a real voice. I just. You guys ain't never had a friend like me.
Yes. Well, thank
That's
you,
a
Steve.
Robin Williams joke.
Yeah,
I got it. It's Aladdin. Thank you, Steven. I appreciate it.
Jason, I got it. It's Aladdin.
Aladdin. It's Aladdin. It's a living. I want to thank you, Steven, because you did get me to the ability to do a voice. I did a Stanland spinoff voice, but I am working on Snowtop, which is cool. Hire me
You
for
did a
voice
great job
acting.
too, by the way, everyone.
Thank you.
Jason does a very good convincing drunk person. I was blown away. I was like, wow, how the fuck do you? Because he was like, make it more drunk, and you were like, but like, you know, when someone's pretending to be drunk and it sounds like shit, and then when someone actually sounds, he was able to pull out the actual. I was like, this sounds like real drunk. This is good.
I've been drunk a lot.
I was gonna say, yeah, he's a method actor.
Yeah, I was drunk right there.
Yeah, I was drunk. Yeah.
Oh, turn it up a bit. Glug 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 glug.
Yeah.
I am the voice of Super Kicked Wrestling here in Toronto. We have a show coming up on the 28th here at the Great Hall. We do one once a month at the Great Hall here in Toronto. It's called Super Kicked Wrestling, and a couple of the matches have been announced. We have the new Superkick champion Dallas Kyle with producer Donnie Da Silva taking on that high guy, Jack McGuire. There's a storyline that's been brewing between these two for quite some time.
That guy looks like he peeled most of his like snake skin off, but it's not done yet. He's like, you gotta peel a little bit more. Yeah.
D-Town Dallas Kyle, the new champ. He dethroned Clutch Jesse V, who held the title for over 1,000 days. So it's a big deal. And speaking of feuds that have been going on for a long time, our very own Chris Chambers takes on Dior Nollins in a cage. Cage matches don't happen very often at Superkick, but when they do, they are knockdown, drag-out affairs. So look out for that next Friday, a week from tomorrow. We also have merchandise here on the show on Superkick, which happens each and every week at 8 p.m. on all social media live, and then goes to the on-demand services over the weekend, usually Sunday after the show airs. We have all illustrated by our very own Stephen Boba Blackfly Waters. We have Corporal Tunnel Syndrome from our James Bond series. We have the Howie Mandela Effect. I can't remember where this even came from, but it's psychotic.
Mike Mangieri said it once.
Oh, yeah.
That's hilarious.
The Grimoire Familiar Killers. Most of these Grimoires killers we've killed off. They're mostly all dead at this point, but we're working through.
We'll make a whole new shirt. Once they're all dead, we'll get a new shirt.
Exactly. With Scream, the Xenomorph, and the rest.
And the rest.
I can't remember because we've only replaced 2 so far. Eldritch Millennial, which,
it's me and Jason fused with the squid.
Yeah. We have Kill-Aid from our Friday the 13th series. We have a fan favorite Twinkerbell, which you could wear on a t-shirt today.
That's me and Jason fused about our ideals.
Reverse.
Do we want to fuck a twink or not?
Yeah.
That's Bruce Wayne in the third one.
Yeah. And in the gun one.
Yeah.
And Chef's Fingers, which is, I know this comes from like Cass and some inside jokes, but it's great because Chef's Fingers. You can find all that and more on Redbubble and TeePublic, and you can find all this and more on social media wherever you get your podcasts and video on demand services. With that, there's one last thing we ask our guests to do each and every week. I'm going to count backwards from 3. You guys are going to say the name of the show. Naveed, you haven't been here in a while. I believe the last time you were here, we played a game at the end. We don't do that anymore. That would have been another 15 minutes. But there is one question we do have to ask each and every week, and I'd like to ask you that in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey,
did you see
this one?
This one?
Gotham Radio. So, we just finished talking about a Gotham Knight. And I just need to ask all of you, what did you think? Scarecrow?
It was fine.
And how about you, Alex Gow? It was pretty good. Oh my God, he's making fun of you, Scarecrow. He's making fun of you. Jason R. Phillips, you're only allowed in here for 10 more seconds.
I'm Satellite.
All right. He is coming in from the satellite. Naveed from Dubai.
Introducing the algorithm.
He is. He's the algorithm. What do you think about that, Scarecrow?
And I think that everything here needs to stop now.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And take a peek into the darkness with Heard Noise, Must Investigate with Michael Chan. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.